quite solid. And I can see them happening, quite possibly, which is definitely not a bad thing. So I'm going to say hello to a couple of people on the chat. Got a guest here with me as well. I'll bring you on in 5 minutes, mate. Just let me say hello to everyone. Philly2109, always good to see you on here, mate. Big up, Danny, and everyone in the chat. Eugene, we will speak to you soon. Hi, everyone. Big up. Levy out. Changing song. Very good Sunday morning, afternoon, or evening to everyone. And anyone who's turning in the first Sunday in June 2024, especially Mr. Daniel, Hotspur Hood, and Spurs YouTube community. Come on, you Spurs. Thanks, mate. It's appreciated. And Rooty 2, big up all Chelsea scum going for Tony now. Hope this Gimares rumour that he wants Spurs are true. Well, that's a couple of the ones I've heard about. And there are a couple of ones that I'm going to go into on it. And Rooty 2 says rumours from several sources. Yeah, the ones that I've checked up and that, and then just been reading while I was out and that, it seems to be quite a few of them coming from several different sources that are usually fairly reliable. So maybe some of these things can come true. Tony, big up Dan and chat. Big up to you too, mate. Always good to see you on here. Rooty 2, congrats Dan on your 3K. Thank you very much. Yes, finally, it kept jumping between 285, 295, 298, and finally got it onto the 3K. I think I'm now on, when I last looked at it, 3K 45, I think I was on. So, yes, more than happy with that. And that's obviously thanks to everybody on here for subscribing. Likes always help. And yeah, so next one for that for me is to get to 3.5. And if this fly don't fuck off, it's really getting on my nerves. You know, one of those ones that even when you sit here with that, you just can't catch the bloody thing. Come love nor money. It's been harassing me for the past hour or so on it. But anyway, back to the football. So if I just jump for a moment and spray the can, it's purely because I'm going to catch that bastard one way or another. Anyway, back to the point. And Tom Tucker, good to see you too, mate. Big up Dan and chat. Hope everyone's well. Congratulations on 3K, onwards and upwards. Yes, mate, much appreciated. And the Bertie Hotspur, big up everyone. Smash a like and subscribe. We want our Tottenham glory days back. Mate, some people, I don't even think they remember glory days. I don't even think they're old enough to remember the glory days, sadly. But I still remember some of them. Levy out, Werner out, shareholders in. Yep. And George, big up to you too, mate. Anthony Clark, AFC, always good to see you on here, even though you are an Arsenal fan. But believe it or not, it is appreciated that we do have a couple of level-headed Arsenal fans that actually come on here and do actually have a good chat. So big up, Dan. Hope all good. Hope all's good to you. Ben Foster, hi, Dan. Well done getting 3,000. Thank you, mate. Appreciated. And Wayne, good morning, all. The weapons of our warfare, not carnal, but mighty, though God might be strong. Okay. I must admit, mate, even though I went to a Christian primary school, I don't remember much of sayings in the Bible and that. So I'll leave you with that one. And Lisa Davis, afternoon, Dan. Hope you're good. Hope you're good too. As I say, been a good day so far. Daryl Denton, this is Spurs. Summer comes. Tensions get high. Fueled by links to players that divide the fan base. I just want to see players linked that are logical sense. And quite of the ones that I'm seeing, a few of them do make sense and they look like ones we could definitely go for. Obviously, other clubs be interested as well, but they do look like ones that I think we've got the capability, money-wise, to bring them in. And Donna Cullen, Wagwan, Mr. Dan, Wagwan to you too. And Spurs fan, all right, Dan, all right to you too. Tom81, good afternoon, everyone, from a seriously hot Turkey. mate, I'm jealous. I wish I was out there. You know what? Turkey's one place I haven't actually been to. And all my mates have always said to me, quality place to go. Um, yeah, it's one of the few places I haven't actually been. I mean, me and my wife, when we got married, we went on a cruise ship, just done it, me and her. Couldn't be bothered with all the excess that goes with it and that. And we went on Mediterranean cruise and that. And Turkey was one place we didn't go. But it is one place I do really want to go in the future. Dixon 220, big up Dan, soon to be 5K. I don't know about that, mate. I think that's a long way to go. We shall see on that one. But it would obviously be good to get to that. Anthony, congrats on the 3K. Thank you, mate. It's appreciated. Wayne, God bless you, Dan. Well, I don't know if he does that one quite yet. And hi, everyone. Please hit like and subscribe from Eugene. So, going to bring in guests. And here we have him. Eugene, how are we doing today?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Right. I was supposed to do one on my own, right? But since you're on, so I'm gonna hop onto yours and get some things off my chest, right? So I hope you let me
Okay.
have an opportunity in my honest opinion, right? So I'm just trying to understand, but to tell the truth, right? I've been a 40 over years Spurs fan. I'm zen about all these, right? I've been through the ups and downs, the denial, the regret, the anger, the frustration. Now, at this moment in time, to tell the truth, don't care that much. But as to tell the truth, that right, I'm one of the OGs that started 3 years ago before we actually had this kind of Spurs community that so many YouTubers are out there doing it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a small channel then, and I'm based in Malaysia, right? I've just recently
So,
hit my
plenty of people
500.
still watching you.
Yeah, yeah. And to tell the truth, I've just hit my 500 subscribers after 3 years,
Well
right? But
done.
yeah, so the thing is that I've seen this community grow. I've seen the people have those who have come and those who have gone. You understand? You know, those who couldn't take the nonsense in between and all that. And sometimes why do you think I don't stream that often is because of all the things that go behind the scene that you guys don't see out there. And to tell the truth, a big up to all the guys in the chats, right? You guys in the chats are the ones who actually drive us on, but sometimes you guys in the chats are the ones that actually can cause the division too, right? So I'm not calling anyone out because I never call anyone out on my channel or on anybody else's channel, but I'm just trying to put this as a general sense, Sometimes I even suspect maybe there's some PR team that's going around, on big channels, stirring shit and all that to bring the divide in the fan base. Honestly,
Eugene,
to
there's
tell the
always
truth,
shit stirring on this planet, one way or another.
yeah, I know, but to tell the truth, right, and it doesn't have to get so serious because this is just football. We're supposed to
I spoke
enjoy the
about it
football.
yesterday. I said it to
I know
everybody
this.
yesterday.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to join you, but yesterday wasn't the right timing because the missus wanted to go out and have a few drinks with some friends. So
Oh, yeah. Happy
yeah,
wife, happy life. I know how
yeah,
that one works, mate.
yeah, yeah. So that's why I couldn't join on the Civil War thing. So that's why I had to hop on today and just to clarify some things. All you guys in the chats and all the people who are watching this later, right? Respect to all you guys supporting the club. We all love the club in our own way. We have our own opinions. We have our own way of seeing things, how it's been done. I've gone through this for so long. I've lost a lot, right? Because I'm Asian, betting and all that. So, but I've stopped, right? I've stopped. And I've understood that no matter what, in our hearts, we want the best for the club. No matter how we put our opinions out there, sometimes it might offend people. Sometimes, it might educate people. Sometimes it might enlighten people. I used to love to do shows with Mr. K last time. If you guys, if you're the OGs, right, you will remember who Mr. K was. He too has left the YouTube scenes, but once in a while, if I do call him up, he will join me on my channel. And we do have civilized, intelligent conversations, with the people in the chats and with the whole community that out there. And what I've learned in these 3 years is that you find out there are the people who are true to themselves, like me. I don't do shows. I don't do a show. You understand? To how I call gain subscribers. I don't hop around to big channels to try
You
to
don't put on
milk
what you're saying
subscribers.
is you don't put
I
on a
don't put
show
up.
for people. You're
Yes,
yourself,
I don't
and
put
that's
on a
the way.
show. I'm
That's
myself.
the same way I do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. That's how Dance does it. That's how a lot of other YouTubers do it. But there are a lot of other YouTubers who do it by putting up a show. By saying what they are, but they aren't, and by saying things that they actually don't actually believe it or mean it, or you're entitled to what you want to feel and how you want to express yourself. But sometimes it gets over the line when it becomes personal and when you start attacking each other, right? So a lot of these things, if we can actually unite, right? To tell the truth, we already know there is a group of people who was leave it in on the fence and leave it out. Yeah. Oh dear. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Don't envy that one,
Tommy.
mate. Anyway, carry on,
Yep.
Eugene.
So what I'm saying is that there's the weird thing is that even in our own leave it out section, right, we have such a big divide. There are so many people that can't even come together just for one cause, right? To me, is that now it doesn't matter who we sign, right? My objective all this while is to get Levy out or to pressure Levy to do something, right, for the football, not just for the property development, not just for the visuals, not just for whatever he wants to do, for the money and all that. And yeah, Kevin Ferguson, yeah, big up to Mr. K. I'm sure when you're one of the OGs that you know who Mr. K is, right? What I'm saying is that if we want to unite to achieve something, we can't be divided, even in our own group. So this is the point, is at this moment in time, that is the sad part, right? I'm not saying that we're having
that will never change. That will never change.
Yeah.
There'll always be
Yeah.
divide. It's just like I said yesterday to people, and that we are probably the most divided club out there.
To tell the truth, I think that there are all clubs have their certain factions. You get what I'm saying? But it's only the Spurs YouTube that we do it
we're
openly.
the worst for it. We're the worst for it.
We do it so openly and so and I don't know. Sometimes that's why we keep saying, right? We put our faces live on YouTube. We ourselves are considered influencers. Whatever we speak from our mouth that comes out, right? People listen, people hear, and it goes into their minds. That's why nowadays, that's why I keep saying, last season, after we got fourth and all that, within the first few games in Conte's reign, the seeds of Conte out was planted in. I keep saying that. The seeds of Conte out has been planted in. So what happens? Conte gets kicked out after the seeds of Conte out has been planted in. Now
it's the same thing over and over again.
Yes. But the thing is that somehow or another, we still don't focus, right, on the main point. Is the target up there that we need to get that guy to actually wake up and listen and watch. And we need to watch him do the things that we think that, we don't say it's right, but it's a beneficial thing for the club. And of course, this Timo Werner signing, right, has brought another divide in again. To tell the truth, I don't care. For all I know, overreactions and all that. Yes, you're angry. We already seen Timo Werner performance last season. We had a 6-month, half a season trial with him. 3 months that he played for us. What were the benefits that we got? Right? Were we any better, or were we any worse, or what is the point? Right? I understand a lot of, I can tell the truth, right? This thing that has been caused, it has been caused, right? We do not control the clubs ourselves. They control the club. Whatever happened is in their hands. And at this moment in time, all we can do is sit back and watch what happens. Like for me, like a lot of us know, we've seen this before. Wash, rinse, repeat, right? For past so many years. Plus, the thing is that sometimes I wonder.
But Eugene, this is the point I'm making today. Actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
And this is what we're going to see what happens.
Yeah. So let's see by the end of the season,
sit back and wait.
Sit back and wait. And let's see whatever comes in, right, to the club, whatever players comes in, right, we will see, right, in the first, I guess, 5 games, we'll most probably be able to gauge whether Ange has learned his lesson from last season, whether he's stubborn, because at this moment in time, we still haven't seen the schedule, right, or the timetables of the games being played, who we are playing the first five teams, we do not know, right? If the first 5 teams, right, are teams like Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Arsenal, I mean, that's about 5 teams there we can speak of, right? We're considered in the big 6. If we meet any of those teams, right, will Ange adapt? If he does, then it's going to be a good progress forward. That means he's learned his lessons last season. He can't play like this all the time. But
Eugene,
if he
only
doesn't,
time will tell. So with that one,
Yeah.
you got that off your chest now?
yeah, got all this on my chest. And guys, to tell the truth, right? We should take hate out of the equation, like what Adrian's always says, right? I don't think to tell the truth, I don't want to put hate in the equation and all these type of things. It's a very harsh word, right? We can say dislike, and to tell the truth, when time comes, right, hopefully we will all be able to get into a certain kind of camaraderie and get on with it. But
Well,
it's off season,
let's
right?
hope
We
so.
have to find some drama to make some shows. And you know what Levy does? He gives us all that.
As he does. Right, now you've got all that crap off your chest.
Yeah.
I'm going to say hello to a few more people on the side. And
Yeah.
Chang, thank you very much. Much appreciated, mate. Always is. You always drop one on there. So thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Always good to have a chat with you as well. And just saying hello to a few people more on the side when I get back to where I was. Just want to say there to Tom81. Notice the
Yeah.
old buyout news has come out. Definitely must be transfer window time. Yeah, without a doubt, you know it's going to be. And the other thing you just said previously on that, not all jolly up though, getting the rest of my dental work sorted. Yes, teeth can be painful. That is one thing I think we all know. Gary Officer, big up to you too, mate. Big up, Dan. Congrats over the 3K. Thank you very much. I hope we get Tony, Eze, and a defensive midfielder this window. Well, there are a couple of the ones we seem to be interested in. And JJ, Oi, Dan, and Eugene, and Rooty 2 speaking to Gary and George. What are your guys' thoughts over the empty cabinet? Quality player, in my opinion. Same story on everything. We get to that one a bit later. Pete, high up, all 11 p.m. in Melbourne. Cool, 11 p.m. It's only 2 o'clock here. And Tom 81 noticed the old. Already went to that one. Ben Foster, I am very close to not supporting Spurs anymore. I do not see a future for the club. Look, mate, I think that's the same as a lot of people. It's just the same stories over and over again when it comes to Levy and everything. We've all felt like that. But one thing I can pretty much guarantee for you is no matter how hard you try not to support this club, it's in your DNA, basically. You will still end up supporting it. Even if it gets even worse, even though you might end up despising the club, like in some ways a lot of us do, it's a sort of love-hate relationship. And until that man goes, I don't think anything changes there. And Daryl Denton, they're at least big up, mate. And there are at least 30 Spurs channels on YouTube. Just find the ones you relate to, not hard. Very true. I like to watch a bit of all different ones. I like all different opinions on there. I like to listen to other people's opinions. Doesn't mean I've got to respect it. I just got to accept that they got a different opinion, which for me isn't hard. Some people, like I was saying yesterday, and like others say, just can't understand or get or want to accept that some people just have different opinions. Tom 81, it's all worth it though. Yes, it is. And Kevin Ferguson, big up Mr. KP. Levy is priming his son to take over. I think. Mate, I wouldn't put nothing past it, but with some of the news that is coming through, we all know that's all going to be ifs, buts, and maybes. But I do think in the near future there is going to be some sort of change at Spurs. And Ryan, big up Dan and Eugene and the chat. Big up to you too, mate. Philly 2109. I agree, Eugene. That's why a lot of people are Levy out. Yes, they are. And Rooty too. Laugh out loud. Levy's son, Josh, looks like a psycho. Yeah, and his dad's a sociopath, so it just wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of connection there, like DNA thing.
Yeah.
But
it is correct.
Ange is the new scapegoat. It's only a matter of time before Ange out and Levy gets away with it again. Well, that's where I've had to back down on myself a bit as well, because after signing Werner, in my own way, very much Ange out. Because for me, I'm not going to go into it deeply again, but for me, he was moaning about the problem up front, and he goes and re-signs one of the problems. So it doesn't give me much hope. But after listening to a lot of people, get the anger out and everything and that, you know what? Like I've said, I'm on the fence now, and it's the end of this transfer window that will talk for me. And then after that, it'll be what happens by December. But he's got to make some serious business now, and he's got to get some serious transfers in for me to get some faith in the man now. And Ryan, fans are too busy playing I'm the better fan. That's why we're divided. Mate, it's one of the many reasons why we're divided.
Yeah.
I don't think you're a better fan or a worse fan, whether you're negative, whether you're positive, whether you're this, whether you're that. It's your opinion and how you see it.
No, that's why, Dan, that's why last season was a weird season with the Arsenal and Man City and that triangle that we were caught in between, right? There were so many fans calling up other fans for not being fans because of their opinion of one side or the other, right? And why are you going to make such a big deal of it?
It was the Arsenal fans going about kissing the Spurs badge.
Why?
I mean,
that's what I was saying.
Worse than us.
I was so upset, right? I think this is a media thing, and the media hype was put onto the Spurs fan base for being this way, right? Not one thing. And why didn't the media, right? Oh, that's why I'm saying that. Why didn't the media, right, go into the Arsenal fans and say, guys, you were wearing Spurs jersey during that game?
Because they've done all that for themselves. Look, when it comes to media, whether some people admit it, people do not watch the news to see what happened in the loving world. People watch the news to see who got shot, who got this, who got arrested, and everything else.
I understand
that is why people watch the news for negative. They don't watch it for positive. Not many anyway.
Yeah, but my point is that, right? Why didn't the media hype onto the Arsenal bandwagon and say that why did the Arsenal fans all support Spurs, want the Spurs to win? What kind of Arsenal fans are those fans?
If you want an answer for that one, Eugene, the answer for that one is because the Spurs one, I suppose, on the media side, was the one to look at, because it was obvious Arsenal were going to want us to win because it would get them it would have helped to win the league. But Spurs supporters wanting their team to lose just so Arsenal don't win it, to me, that's a bigger thing for the news. The Arsenal one, that was obvious. It was the bigger news thing on there, and I was one of the ones who was.
And to tell the truth, right? Our manager didn't help that situation because he came out and said things, right, to stir the fan base even more. So I don't know.
I don't think he's done that intentionally.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he
say hello to a couple more. James.
Hey, big up, James.
Flower, big up, James. How you doing, mate? If you want to jump on, send me a message on WhatsApp. I'll send you the link. Not a problem. James Flower again. Smash the likes, subs, guys. Thank you, George. Too many people being positive for the pound note. It's disgusting. I know of 2 Spurs content creators that don't agree with a lot of the stuff they say, but I bet there's a lot more of them out there. Mate, like I said to you, each their own. Everyone can do it whatever way they want. Some people do this for fun. Some people do this for money.
Yeah.
I do this because I enjoy debating about football, talking about football. Well, even though it can be quite depressing at times. And I do like a good argument with it as well. Drama comes with it. And then you can also sit there and also have a civil chat with people as well. Sometimes easier said than done, but... And Jay Hilton, Levyland, has been for how many years? Simon Cohen, I'm 66. All I want to do is see Spurs win trophies like the other 70s and 80s. Mate, I'm exactly the same. And Renegade, Afternoon Mush, Dick Ear Chavy. Yeah, mate, I do understand that language. And Ben Foster, the cups will not be taken seriously again. This includes Europa. Well, this is where I'm hoping like the Europa does get taken serious, because that is what I personally think is our biggest one to go for, Eugene. The
Oh, to
league,
tell the truth, right?
I
To
think
tell
we're
the truth,
gonna hang
right?
on. Hang on a sec. I think we're gonna struggle on the league, because we're gonna get quite a few players out. Hopefully, get a few players in. Hopefully, good ones. But we were struggling with one game a week. We're now gonna have the Europa Cup as well. I am not so bothered about the league next season. It's going to be a hard one because Man U are going to get better, Villa are going to get better, Newcastle get better, Chelsea I don't see getting much better at the moment, but again we shall see. I want us to go for the cups this year, out and out for the cups, and the Europa Cup the most, because that is the one I can see we can win, and that is the one that would also get us in the Champions League. So it's a cup. Fans are happy. Europe, we're happy again. Champions League, Mr. Levy is happy.
Yep.
It's for me, it's an all
It's a
round.
win-win situation, right? Because
Yep.
our Carabao Cup gets us £1 million in prize money. Our FA Cup gets about another 2.5 3 million pounds in prize money. But if we win the Europa Cup, it will bring our kitty to about 25 million pounds, right? If we can get all the way to the finals and actually win it, right?
But we'll
And
be
like
in
what
the Champions League as well.
and plus
That
and plus
is the Levy
and
side.
plus yeah, and plus with our great chairman always wants to get in the Champions League for the Champions League, though that would also solve another of his problems. So it's a win-win situation, but what he said earlier, right? Yeah, what he said earlier, what did was it who said it earlier? What was it? Who was it? I can't remember. Whoever put in that comment, right? Yeah, we never actually go for the cups, but let's hope we do go for the Europa League, right? But let's see.
Yeah,
maybe
and it's like
if
Peter says here,
we
don't know about domestic cups, but Europa
Yeah.
he will take seriously. I hope so, because that is, like
Yeah,
I said,
I
a
hope so
win-win
too.
situation. And Rudy, so Ange does not have a good record in Europe. No, he doesn't. But when you're in the Champions League with a team like Celtic, that is a very average team, whether people like to admit
But
it or not.
Ange only
He
record
got,
in
hang on a sec,
Europe.
Eugene. Hang on. In the Champions League, he got absolutely battered in there in everything he done.
Yeah, and the truth,
on,
I think
what you were gonna
Ange
say.
experience in Europe is just recently in the Champions League, right? When he brought Celtic there, so maybe he'll learn from that too. But the truth, hopefully he learned from the way that he played in the Champions League. He can't do it again, right? Because in Europe, teams are more pragmatic, and if you're going for the cup, you have to play a certain way. Yeah, and guys, don't forget, you watch the way Real Madrid. Any of you guys watch the Real Madrid Dortmund game? What did Real Madrid do?
Dortmund should have had them. Dortmund should have had them.
Yeah.
But
the
that's
thing is
Real
that
Madrid for you. That's the winning mentality. It's in Real Madrid's DNA. Give them even if you give Real Madrid a substandard team, they are still going to win. It is in that system, in that club. And Ben, what are you saying there, mate? Put simply, a team challenging for Europa has less chance of Champions League qualification and therefore no CL money. I can get what you're saying, but I personally think it's going to be. I say the word easy very lightly, but I think it's going to be easier for us to concentrate and win the Europa than to even get in the top four, because the top three, but mind you, Liverpool as well could be a question, but it is still definitely one out of everything I want to take the most serious. The Europa, and if we go for fourth place, whatever, then fine, but getting that Champions League. And Phil, while Spurs are happy to accept trash like Werner, Real Madrid are dining on the likes of Mbappe. Now that's what ambition looks like. Yep, and that also helps when you've got the country back in your club, which Real Madrid basically has, And Lee Music, Ruti, honestly, you could have the Real Madrid squad and struggle playing like that. And Graham, big up to you, mate. And Dan, I recently heard of many top football players like Ferdinand, Fabregas, Cole, and some others who don't even like Arsenal put Saliba as the best defender in the league. Why don't our players get a mention? Well, the reason our players don't get a mention for that is because
Not good enough.
what was our defense like?
How many goals
We've
did we
got a much
concede?
better defense than what we had, and we conceded 3 less goals. So they are not going to get spoke of as high quality defenders when it looks like the job isn't getting done properly. Whereas at Arsenal, the defense job was getting done properly, and they will get spoke about. The only reason the Spurs defenders got spoke about was obviously because of what Van der Ven done, but it was because we was conceding goals left, right, and centre, down to the tactics of the manager. And that is one thing we will see if they change it. But that is why the others get mentioned over ours for the positive reasons. And Mark Cook, big up to Dan and Eugene, big up to you too. Trevor, at Dan at Graham, True, on USA Broadcast, ESPN, all put Gabriel and Saliba in team of the season, not one Spurs player. Totally understandable why. I mean, Vicario had a brilliant season, and I believe he's a better keeper than Raya. But look how many goals he conceded. But you can only be as good as your defence. Look how many he saved. Look how many points Vicario saved us. If I'm going to be honest, in the Arsenal team, we've only got 2 certain players that would get in there. And one of them, good chances, is Udogie, and the other one is Son. Apart from that, no. Romero at the moment, no. He wouldn't get in there over Saliba, whether he's better or not. On the paperwork and the season, it doesn't show he has been. And Van der Ven over Gabriel, no, them two have been solid together, whether we like it or not. That's why they get the positive show. And Rich, big up Dan, big up to you too. Rooty, ESPN tends not to be very positive about Spurs like other broadcasters. We're an easy target, mate, and that's because we make ourselves an easy target. That is the problem. That is the problem with it, basically. And where we're so divided, we make ourselves an even easier target. And Ben, I did not want Spurs to beat Man City. They were awful up to that game. I just didn't want Arsenal to win that league because you'd have never heard the bloody end of it, and it would have done my head in. And right, before I come to my points, I'll read this one out from Anthony Clark, AFC. Eugene, they're not real Arsenal fans. You would never see me in a Spursy top, kiss the badge or anything. I would use a Tottenham top. Yeah, we know why. Exactly the same as we use an Arsenal one. If anything, in a lot of ways, I actually think the Arsenal supporters were worse than the Spurs ones for actually getting seen kissing the Spurs logo. That to me is worse than us sitting there saying we want to lose, so Arsenal can't win. Really, they're as bad as each other. But come hell or high water, you are not getting me kissing that Arsenal shirt unless it is to save a life. And even then, you're going to have to push me.
Yeah, but then we weren't wearing an Arsenal jersey and said that we want to lose, right? So,
but in that aspect, it is what it is. You could say we're as bad as each other, but like hell are you getting me kissing that Arsenal badge unless it is to save someone I love. If it's a random person out there and I have to kiss that Arsenal badge to save their life, sorry person, you are going to the afterlife. It would have to be someone I love dearly. So there we go.
So cool.
And Miss Bunny, it's just, I say it how it is, mate. There's no point in me, like you say, there's no point in me sitting there. If I see a person that I randomly don't know and they need me to kiss that Arsenal badge to survive, sorry, mate, your life ain't that important. You know what? I could turn around and on that one, I could use the religion excuse of that is my religion. So I can't do it. I just can't do it. Sorry, fella, woman, lamppost, whatever you are. It's just your days are numbered. But anyway, Miss Bunny, Ange talks about winning trophies. If he starts playing the weak sides in the cup, I'm done with him. I can agree with that. It's going to be a very hard one to get
We'll
everything
have
in
to
there. We're
wait
going to
and
be
see.
playing a lot more games. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll
Right.
wait
But
and
let's
see,
get
right?
to some of the
And it
points.
depends, and then it depends on what type of teams we are drawn to play against with. In a sense, if we are like drawn
That's
against
just,
Wrexham or something, then of
sooner
course
or
we play a
later,
weak team.
you are always going to come up against a good one. And it's like last season, he totally screwed it up with a Fulham one. Those 9 changes, like I've said before, one of the most stupid things I've ever seen a manager do. But then coming up against City in like the second round of the FA Cup, or whatever it was, second, third round, whatever it was.
Third round, I think.
And yeah, and yes, we had a crap game, but it's City. It's forgivable. It is what it is at the end of the day. Right. Out of all the things that I've been watching, I mean, there's a big thing that I'm going to go to halfway through. But one of the players we seem to definitely be certain about, definitely be looking for, between 60 and 75 million bid. And we are actually supposedly, from several things I've read, actually already talking to him. And that's Eze from Crystal Palace. Now, that is one I would definitely like to get. Apart from be able to fight Madison all the way for his place, if not take his place, he can also cover the left-hand side. If needed, he could cover that right-hand side. And I personally think he's a player that can also play centre mid. I personally think he gets in that team straight away. That is the sort of player I would like us to go for. 70 million is going to be a bit much for him. I get that. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 players we can offer to bring the price down. But that is the sort of player where actions speak louder than words for me. I mean, what do you think on Eze and getting him?
I would love Eze, right? He has what we want, but he's slightly injury prone, but still young. I guess he's still developing. Along the way, if we get another left side wing type or forward type, right, that will overload our left-hand side. But to tell the truth, if we do have 3 quality players on the left and we can switch Son to the left or to the right, we can switch Eze left or right, then we will have a good rotation there. It will strengthen the squad, to tell the truth. At this moment in time, I want to see the squad being strengthened. I mean,
yes.
Well,
it's going to have to be.
We're not going to even look into the Werner scenario because he's basically more of a left-sided player. And don't forget, we've got Solomon back. Yeah, I know. So we will have a very healthy left side forward combination if Eze comes in, right? So at this moment in time, being a Spurs fan for so long, we're always linked, interested, right? Looking into, right? Partially negotiating, or we're having talks with him. I will only believe it when he signed that contract and he's holding up that shirt. That's all.
Exactly what I'm saying. Actions speak louder than words. And we all do know when it comes to this sort of thing, we hear a lot of words. And then maybe one action, and then it sort of deteriorates from there usually. Or we see absolutely no action, and then all on the last minute we see things happen where we're just trying to save a couple of quid.
But Dan, have you not noticed, right? Ever since, let me see, was it the Conte era? After that January transfer window when we got Bentancur and Decky in the last minute of that January transfer window, all our signings have been done early. You get what I'm saying? And that part is like I've been telling a lot of people, we're just doing deja vu in reverse because we sign all our players early and then we won't sign any more players along the way. Unless Levy has got his pet project that he needs to chase someone down. Like when he chased Jet Spence for 6 months, right, for 15 or 20 million pounds, and he has never played once for our club. And now we're going to sell him off. So let's hope we don't go back to the kind of scenarios again, right? And let's hope this time the football people are actually doing their job.
It's like what Rooty Toot says here, makes a good point. At the moment, our squad is a product of 4 managers over 8 or more years, trying to think other top clubs with such a problem. The only one even close to that, I would say, is probably Man U, but no. But one thing on the other side of what you said there is out of those 11 up front, Postecoglou has definitely got his name in a couple of them. I'm sure he's not arguing about a Doji, and I'm sure he's not arguing about Porro. Vicario coming with Postecoglou, Van der Ven, Madison, Johnson, Werner. So you can say 5 of those players are pretty much Ange, because he says he does pick them. So in our 11, I don't think we're so bad for the split players as such. But as a squad wise, it's terrible. But hopefully, like I've spoke about on previous shows, like I did with you, Eugene, and James and Brian, on how much players will go for and players we need to get rid of. And there was at least 11 dead wood that need to go. But with this Eze deal, I can definitely see it happening. I know there's other clubs that would be interested in him, but I don't think there's any of the big clubs that need him as such. Man City, would they go for him? I don't know. I don't think he's quite up to that standards yet. But if he did go there, I'm pretty sure he knows he'd go there as not far off a backup player. And if the player's got any idea for his future, that's not what you want to do. I mean, look what he'd done to who was the one they got from Leeds? Is it Phillips?
Kevin Phillips.
England midfield. Yeah, is that him? The one they got from Leeds?
Yeah,
and
Kevin Phillips.
He fell to pieces, and he's through injuries and that. But even if he wasn't injured, he still weren't getting in that team firsthand. So I don't think that would be the smartest move for Eze to make. I don't see Arsenal going for him because I don't think that's what they need. I'm not saying it wouldn't help them in the squad wise, but again, it'd be another place that he has to seriously fight for. And they need that striker more than anything. Liverpool,
we need a striker too
on that one. Yeah, I know. But the main thing Arsenal need is that striker. That is their priority. Liverpool, I don't see them going for him. Chelsea, they need to get rid of well before they buy. Newcastle haven't necessarily got the money to spend. The only other one that I could see going for him possibly would be Man U, but I don't even think Man U would necessarily need them because they've got
Man U doesn't even have they haven't even decided which manager they want yet.
I think their manager's going to stay. Personally, I think he's going to stay there.
I mean, he deserves to stay, right? 2 trophies in 2 seasons, and if they get rid of him, right, and if the wheels fall off with whoever they bring in, that's going to be a bad scenario for the owners. But if I were the Manchester United, owners or whoever's in charge there, we should just keep. They should just keep Ten Hag for the time being.
With the things I've said, I think we stand a serious chance of getting Eze because like I said, I don't see any of the other big clubs going for it.
I think
because they don't
at the moment
need him as priority.
But at the moment now, right, we know that Eze, the price put on his head is around 60 to 80 million pounds. If I'm not mistaken, is between
and you can say 20% of that is because he's English as well.
Yeah, that's the English homegrown quota thing comes in. But we know how our chairman goes in and negotiate deals like that, right? Most probably he'll go in and lowball them or something like that. So and it is what it is, right? So if we are lucky, if we lowball them and there's still no one going for him, we might get him for around 45, 50 million pounds, which I don't mind paying.
Not a chance.
If we do lowball him to a certain extent, if we do get that price, I'm saying it will be a good price. Hold on, Dan. It will be a good price, right? Because we've already paid nearly 50 million pounds for Brennan Johnson. So if it's a 50 million, 45, 50 million pounds, it will be a very good price for Eze to come to Spurs. But I will see him more or less.
Price.
But I will see, right? Crystal Palace wants something around 60, 65 before they'll budge.
Round about 70 mil. And I don't think we're getting a penny cheaper than 65 because Palace don't have to sell. And he's still got about 3 years on the contract.
And
the rumour has it that he's got a deal basically like a gentleman's deal.
Gentleman's agreement, yeah. That
Yeah,
what Harry
where-
Kane had, you see. Yeah.
Yeah, but Harry Kane and Daniel Levy, and that's just
That's why on X, right? When that news came out, yeah, on X, right? When that news came out, right? I said, I just put there, gentleman's agreement, ha ha ha, right? Let's hope Steve Parrish is a gentleman, and I put downwards, he's not one, and I put a picture of who.
That's where we are going to have to pay big money for him because they've got no reason to sell him, and it doesn't matter whether the other clubs are going for him or not in that aspect. We are going to be paying that sort of money if that is who we want. And if you want quality over quantity, you do have to pay bigger money. 70 million, yes, I do think it's a bit much for him. But at the end of the day, it's not my money. I don't care in that aspect. Go and do it. Because Palace are in no situation where they have to sell. Unlike other clubs, like Chelsea have to sell, and it looks like Newcastle need to make up some money, same as Everton do. So if we do go for Eze, we are going to be paying 60, 70, 75 million even for him because of the 25% English tax on him as well. He's going to cost money, and we're going to have to be willing to pay it if we want him. And he's definitely one that will improve us, and I think he gets into our first team. Right, Jason Naz, big up to you, mate. And Dan, I find it so irritating when top talents like Sesko give interviews literally saying he wants to play for Arsenal, while we have Werner, who was pushing for a permanent transfer to Spurs. Mate, again, if I was a player and I want to go to a club, I want to go to one of the big clubs and win things. I know Arsenal ain't exactly a winning club at the moment, but they don't look far from it. I still think if they would have had that good striker last season, I think that league would have been theirs. Because City definitely weren't at their best last year. I know they went unbeaten for quite a while towards the end of that. They did what City always do. But it definitely wasn't the best that we've seen them in the past 4 years. And I think if Arsenal would have had that striker, they would have won that league. And with someone like Sesko, he wants to get at one of the top clubs and that. Of course, he's going to say, basically, come and get me. I'm here. Come and get me. But again, will we go for him? Obviously not. And who's he going to pick? Spurs or Arsenal? If he wants regular games, he's going to come Spurs. But a lot of players will go if they think they've got the quality to get in the team. They're going to go for the bigger club. And at the moment, that is Arsenal. I mean, Eugene, the other one that has been on the system for quite a while now, but for some reason it seems to be dying down a little bit. Conor Gallagher. And that's meant to be dying down for the fact that he's supposedly stated he does not want to go Spurs and he would rather just stay the extra year at Chelsea and then walk out for free and then the world is his oyster as such. I mean, I say it like that. Obviously, he's not going to get into Liverpool or Arsenal, whatever else in that. But it totally opens the world for him because he's free, doesn't it? Someone like Liverpool might actually say...
honestly, right, the Conor Gallagher thing, right, and he's homegrown, right? He's Chelsea out and through. Coming to Spurs for him is, like a sacrilege thing to do. Yes, if you're homegrown talent and if you love the club that much. But if he doesn't come to Spurs, right, but the owners need to get rid of him and he needs to be sold, he will be sold. You get what I'm saying? Right? At this moment in time, do we need a player like Conor Gallagher? Maybe, maybe not, right? That's depending on Ange, right? What kind of, and the recruitment team that we have, what are they looking into? So at this moment in time, that's it. I'm just sitting down here waiting and let's see what happens, right? So let's see what happens.
Well,
Conor Gallagher,
but it was one that looked like it was a done deal, basically, not far from it.
Dan, we've been chasing Conor Gallagher since January. Haven't you forgotten?
Exactly.
Right. So, and to tell the truth, right? Don't say chasing. We've been linked to him. You guys say no. The link is always there. We can be linked to 10,000 players around the world and we're still linked to him, linked to them, right? Whether they come to Spurs or not. Number one, it's up to the player. Number two, whether he's going to be forced out And number 3 is that would you want a player who doesn't want to come here? And if he's outright said that he doesn't want to come to Spurs, and
then why do you want to get him?
No, that's why. And should wake up and remember what he said. I don't want players here. Okay, later we'll answer Jay Ashraf's question. I don't want players who don't want to be here. I don't want players to come to Spurs because of the Champions League. I want players to come to Spurs because they want to play for Spurs. That's the mentality. And if Conor Gallagher has said that he doesn't want to come here, then Ange should have dropped the ball soon. That's how I see it. And let's go through this one.
Yeah, let's go to what's just said here. Jay Ashot, I can't even call you Jay, mate. It's easier for me to just call you Jay. Hi, Dan and Eugene. Why do you think Ancelotti could not bring that winning mentality to Everton? Would a Sean Dyche have made success being in charge of Real Madrid with world-class players? Well, look, you can have all the world-class players in the world and the best playing team in front of you, but if you haven't got the mental capability and knowledge and able to deal with world-class players like that, you're not going to get nowhere fast. That was one of the reasons why Poch struggled at PSG. He wasn't used to having, how do you put it, like old school, like Galacticos or whatever they used to call them at Real Madrid around him. All right, Harry Kane's world-class, this and that, but he's got the perfect personality. He's easy work. Yeah, he had to deal with Mbappe, Messi and stuff like that. And Ancelotti, of course, he's not going to bring success to Everton straight away. But one thing you can guarantee, same as you could with Mourinho, same as you could with Conte at Spurs, if they would have been given the money they wanted to get the players they wanted, they will bring success. They've done it everywhere they've been. And the other problem is being at a team like Everton, also which are lower standards than Spurs, it's going to be very hard to get those players in. But we all know money talks. If you give someone like Ancelotti what he wants and the due time, it'll bring success to Everton. It'll bring it to Spurs. Same as Conte could have brought it to us. If he would have got what he wanted, he could have got us a cup. Same as Mourinho nearly got us a cup until that prick Daniel Levy sacked him a week before the final. So, like I said, you can have the best team on the planet there in front of you, but if those players' personalities are too big for you as a manager, as a coach, you're not going to succeed. Especially when you walk into that changing room or whatever, and the players look at you and think they're bigger than you. So it does work in a couple of ways there. I mean, what do you reckon on that one, Eugene?
Okay, the first part is that why do you think Ancelotti could not bring that winning mentality to Everton? Number one, G. Ashraf, what I think is that, right, when Ancelotti stepped into that room and when he signed that contract, right, I think he already knew, right, Everton doesn't have that kind of winning mentality from the top bottom. Maybe if they did have that winning mentality, they didn't have the finance to actually support him to go through
exactly.
It, right? And right. So in the end of the day, when Real Madrid came back calling again, he ran straight away, right? So and would Sean Dyche, and would Sean Dyche have much success being in charge of Real Madrid with world-class players? Honestly, we don't know. I don't know. I can't say whether he would. I don't think he would because most probably he wouldn't have been able to control the egos in that Galactico scenario right now. So don't forget the mentality there, because if the players think they are bigger than the manager, then it's over, right?
Exactly. I mean, you've lost the dressing room before you even walk into it, and that's what a few people said was one of Poch's problems at Paris Saint-Germain, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Ben saying here, all of the pardon me, all the optimism and hope is drained from me. I feel like Red at the end of Shawshank Redemption. Well, at least at the end of Shawshank Redemption, he ends up happy, where he goes to meets his all-time friend. I mean, Shawshank for me is one of the greatest films ever made. It's not a movie; it is an out-and-out quality film. One of my favourites of all time. But yeah, like when we signed Timo Werner, that dropped me straight away and a lot of other people. But we're now just going to have to wait and see what happens. Next one we're meant to be looking at, and these are all ones that we're meant to be serious on. And I know there's going to be another 100 come into it and whatever, but out of what I've checked up and looked at, these are the ones that we look the most serious on. The next one is that Santiago Giménez from Feyenoord. and we're meant to be looking at paying 45 to 60 million for him. What do you think on that? I mean, we need the striker.
If he's an out and out striker, and if his stats, to tell you right now, I actually want a striker, out and out number 9 that actually can score with his head. You know, some striker that can score with his head. Right. Apart from Richarlison, I don't think anyone has actually scored with their head in the Premier League last season. Right. The striker department.
Apart from Romero.
VDV or Romero or VDV or Romero. Yeah, mostly Romero scored with their headers, right? So that's what I need a striker to come in, because if we can't break through the low block, the ball going low into the striker, we need it to be in the air. So, and we do know that Son is not an out number 9, right? So if Jimenez comes in, if his stats fits the profile that he's good with his head and scores a lot of goals with his head, right? Let's see how that goes. But don't forget, right? We are now in between the choice of Ivan Toney and Jimenez. So if Ivan Toney comes at a rate of, let's say, 40 million pounds, right? And
that'll be the next one. Right? That'll be the next one I go to. Okay. Stay with Jimenez at the moment.
Okay, Jimenez. I wouldn't mind having Jimenez there, right? Yeah, and to tell the truth, right? I will take Jimenez, and if we do sell Richarlison, right, the next one will come in now.
Okay.
Imagine.
I mean, question we got here quickly, and just want to say big up to you, Dan Phil, big up Danny, mate, and Eugene. And what Renegade is saying here, how do you all feel about Edwards' possible return? Now, there's been a lot of talk about this one. Personally, I don't rate him that highly, but then I haven't seen enough of him in Portugal to make a solid decision on him as such. But for me, it's like a manager. I don't think it's necessarily good going back on a player. I mean, look what happened with Man U, with Paul Pogba and other teams it's happened with. Sometimes it's been positive when they've done it, but I don't think he's big enough to want for us. I think we should be looking at a higher level than that if we want to progress. But I haven't seen enough of him to really make an honest judgment. I just don't necessarily agree going back on yourself.
Yeah, to tell the truth, right, guys, Marcus Edwards is from our academy. Somehow or another, he's ended up. He's at Porto, right, at the moment, if I'm not mistaken.
Sporting Lisbon, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, he's in Sporting Lisbon at the moment. This story came out, right? Remember when we were in Champions League and Sporting Lisbon was in our group, right? And somehow or another, we still straight through to get into the next rounds, right? He was, how would you say, performing well, right? And somehow or another, when he was performing well, it attracted back attention onto him. Guys, we've been linked to this guy, right, for the past, since Conte, if I'm not mistaken, a year now. So, it's another smoke and mirrors thing again. You know, it's just the Spurs or PR side to show us that we are linked to so many players. You know, we're ambitious at this moment in time, right? To a certain extent, you know what our ambitions are.
Whereas for me,
ambitious in signing players. Yeah,
I'm not putting Edward. Like I say, I haven't seen enough of him to judge him really. But for me, where we've already had him and whatever, I don't feel it's the best of ideas. It doesn't usually work for people when that happens.
Yeah.
Right. The next one on the list that I also think there's a serious chance we can get hold of this person if we wish to, is Ivan Toney. And his price has come right down. Reasons being, he's on his last year of his contract, and it doesn't look like Arsenal want him. Chelsea don't need him. Liverpool, I very much doubt, would go for him. I don't think Man U don't need him. Obviously, Man City don't need him. Newcastle don't need him. I don't really see a better option he's got than Spurs, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, whether he's an Arsenal supporter, like rumours say, whether he's this, whether he's that, I couldn't care less. As long as he comes on that pitch and scores goals, that's all I care about. I don't care about who he supports. I don't care about his love life. I don't care about who he sleeps with. I don't care about who he prays to at night. I don't care whether he goes to church on a Sunday or whatever during the Wednesday, or whether he goes a month without food or what. I couldn't give a fuck. Just come and play football and score goals. Yeah, so in that aspect, I think Ivan Toney he's definitely an upgrade on what we got. And getting him and Eze, yes, that's going to cost money, but I think we are going to sell a couple, like you said. I definitely think Ivan Toney, don't like his attitude, but as a player, I mean, he's a bit of a poor man's son, a bit of a poor man's Harry Kane in a way, because I find he's quite similar to Harry Kane on the way he plays. He's quite an advanced forward. He's got a bit of everything. The only thing he's actually better than Harry Kane is he's actually quicker. But like I say, he's a bit of an all-round forward, isn't he? Just a poor man's Harry Kane sort of thing.
Yeah, I know. So at this moment in time, as I can see this, right, for Tony, it's going to be in a sense that the English homegrown scenario will come in. For £40 million, he's a very cheap option, to tell the truth. And the other thing is that, can he repeat the form that he had before he was banned? You see, because he's not shown that prowess ever since he's come back from the eight-month long suspension and all that things. But maybe he needs some time to pick it up again. But will we take a risk on him or not? I would love to have Tony and Jimenez, like I was saying, and get rid of Richarlison and bring those two in to be our main striking force. And let's see whether
Richarlison seems to be saying that he wants to stay, isn't it? But I personally think that if a bid of 30-40 mil comes in for him and we accept it, with the money that he will get offered to go out there, personally, I don't think he will turn it down. But again, that's just a personal opinion. And I think Ivan Toney is a good call, and I think he's more on our level of what we are capable of getting and also paying for. The only thing that might stop that is depending how selfish he wants to be and his agent and coming in and wanting massive wages. But again, if Arsenal aren't interested in him and Chelsea aren't interested in him and neither Newcastle, Aston Villa don't need him and none of the other big 6, 7, 8 clubs need him, he might actually have to step down a level, basically. He's going to get better wages than what he gets anyway, but maybe not get the 200 grand that he actually wants. And I see European clubs going for him, but I don't see no big European club go for him. That is why I think the way it looks at the moment, we are probably his best option, money-wise and club size-wise as such.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the thing is that, like I said before, I wouldn't mind having him, right? Because he's a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. And he has a very good average goal scoring throughout the season since he's been in the Premier League, right? I guess it's somewhere around 15 and above, right? So let's see how that goes. If he does come in with Jimenez, or to tell the truth, right? If he comes in with, and let's say we don't get Jimenez, it's either we're going to get with Jimenez, Tony, or Jimenez, Richarlison, or Tony, Richarlison. So that's the three combination that we're looking at, right? But guys, don't forget, we've got another striker coming back, right? Valise.
Oh, right, yeah.
He's got Valise coming back.
That one that no one has a clue about because he played all of 15 minutes. But I would instead of getting Jimenez, I would rather get Ivan Toney because, like what's just been said here by Terry Wright, Jimenez is a much bigger gamble than Toney. Well, I think gamble might have been the wrong phrase to use, mate. But
no pun intended. No pun intended.
Yeah, well, you still have to make one out of it. And I would definitely rather go for Eze and Toney. And like you say, Toney, he already knows the Premiership as such. And I think it'd be a good shout. The other one we're meant to be looking at, and this is one that interests me. I mean, I've heard a lot about him, but I can't say I've seen him. I can't say that I've seen him play, and that's that Victor. Even try and pronounce his bloody name, Gyökeres or whatever his name is.
Gyökeres.
That's the one from Sporting Lisbon.
Okay, I mean, Victor Gyökeres' history is like
50 games, 43 goals, 15 assists, and they're meant to be looking between 65 and 85 million.
guys, yeah, you have to remember, right? Victor Gyökeres' history is that he was in Coventry first last season, if not mistaken. Not this last season. The previous season he was in Coventry, and then he was picked up by Sporting Lisbon, and now I think he's looking for a move back to the Premier League, right? So there's the weird thing is that last season, why didn't someone from the Premier League just pick him straight up, you know? But it is what it is. So now he's got like, I don't know, 40 goals or 40 over goals in 50 over games in the Portuguese league. Will he come over and become something else and actually put in the goals? We don't know, but he has been putting it in the goals in the championship. So to tell the truth, maybe he could be even a better choice than Jimenez or Tony. You see, but I think Tony will be a done deal, because if he comes in cheap for the price and he's homegrown, that puts a lot of things into
exactly, and where he's only got a year left on the contract as well, isn't it? So just want to say big up to Vindaloo. Another. I mean, I say the word good very lightly, but good Arsenal supporter.
We call them level-headed Arsenal supporters, right? That's what we like.
Always good to see you on here. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, big up Vindaloo.
And
good to have you on.
What Nicholas has said here, Tony and Eze will calm this fan base down over Werner. I agree. It would definitely calm me down, because I am sitting on the fence big time. I mean, as soon as we got Werner, like everyone knows, I'm out straight away. I think a lot of that was aggression, temper. But like I say, listening to other people as well, taking in other opinions, and then calming down and thinking about it. If we don't do something good, then yeah, I'm still going to be out. But at the moment, I'm sitting on that fence at the moment. I'm waiting until the end of the transfer window. Even if we go and make 5 great signings, I'm still going to sit here and say,
"You're sitting on it.
Why the hell did you sign Timo Werner?" I'm still going to sit there and say Timo Werner was a bad call, and that was a bad call, because okay, he might have made 5 good ones, but that's still a bad one. It's not going to.
I don't know.
The problem is with Werner, at 165k a week, he's not going to be sitting on the bench.
I don't
but
think so.
Let's not go into that one. So with the Swedish fella from Sporting Lisbon, I sort of look on that one the same sort of way as the Gimenez one. It's more of a gamble. I think Ivan Toney is definitely the better one to go for. I think he's the safest one to go for. I mean, you never know whether it's going to go perfect or not. Of course not. But I do definitely think Ivan Toney is the safer one.
Yeah, but then in the end of the day, right, we do need at least 2 out and out number 9s. You know, we can't be doing this if Richie is injured, Fon goes into the middle kind of scenario. I ain't gonna take that anymore.
We can. We can. Getting 2 number 9s is not a priority. There's more important than 2 number 9s, because we can cover that 9 space if we get another one. Yes, we need, but we're not going to get it. We're not going to go and spend 500 million. So be realistic here, yeah. If we can get 3 quality players, if we can get 3 very good players out there, are you really going to go for 2 strikers and a midfielder?
Oh no, you mean if I'm just given 3 players, of course not.
That's what I'm saying.
You must remember, Werner is taken 1 spot.
Exactly. And Son can cover the number 9 place if need be, as long as it's not for long amounts of time as such.
Yeah.
So I don't think, if we could get 2 strikers and then get another 2 good players and whatever, then I'm all up for that. But I don't think 2 strikers is quite the priority right now. And like what Nick said, get Eze, get Ivan Toney. I think that would definitely calm quite a few people down. I mean, the other one to me that I think there's a very strong chance that this one could go through is the Hudson-Odoi. And that's meant, from what I've read, that's meant to be of a deal between anything between 10 and 20 million.
That cheap?
So I've read. I mean, in others it probably says 30, in others it might say 5. You know what it's like on the press. You've just got to round it off.
I know. No, but then Hudson-Odoi is another England player. I mean, homegrown. Yes, so I don't think it's that cheap, right? God, if it was, come on. If Hudson Odoi is going for 15 to 20 million pounds, right, just pick him up.
Yeah, but
Right? That will solve our we don't have to play Son as our number 9.
but Nottingham
If you want
Forest,
yeah.
Nottingham Forest do need money. I mean, Hudson
I know.
Odoi, he was up and coming at Chelsea, and then he's got injured, gone down, and that. He's more of a left winger, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And he would be one that I think would be a squad player as such. I don't think he's a bad call for a squad player, but my priorities are getting the quality in.
Yeah, I know.
And if we go and get 3 quality good players, I don't think he would be the worst shout to be one of the squad players. Personally, I would have rather signed in the Timo Werner.
That's true. Yeah.
You know? And
no, Dan, if he's that cheap, right? That whole Werner package, right? We could have bought Hudson Odoi and given him 100K a week.
Exactly. That's why this whole thing was just utterly crazy in my eyes. But again, I don't want to go back into that one because it just depressed me again and everyone else on here. I mean, you look at all the things we talk about and all the ones that we get linked to and everything else. Yeah. But how many times has it happened over the years when all of a sudden Bobby Zamora, Louis Sahar, Mido, or someone like that turns up for it? But I don't think it's going to be quite so bad. It's just that Werner one didn't put much hope on everyone. I mean, the other one, it looks like that should definitely be on his way. From again, I've read it on about 4 different things now. Is it does look like Lo Celso is actually going to go to Real Betis for a 12 million deal.
Euros or pounds?
Euros. So it's about 10 million quid. So it's about 10.5. And
I don't know. If Lo Celso is, I think he's got 1 more year in his contract.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have to get rid of him. Right. That's all I can see.
I mean, we've already said that. Right. The other big news that's going about at the moment is we all know it's been in the system for a while and there's always talk about it and everything. And that is, what is it? MSP wanting to come out and buy 40% of Spurs. I mean, the one thing I do know is they was going to have a bit of Everton, something like 20-25%. But it was them who actually blew the deal out for whatever the reasons were. And I think Levy would want some extra money coming in there, but I don't see him willing to drop his part or whatever, because from what I checked out, what is it, Joe Lewis, or whether you want to call him Enick, whatever, but it's basically Levy and Joe Lewis who own the club. And from what I got written here and checked out, is what Joe Lewis 70.6% and Levy owns 29.4%. I don't see Levy wanting to sell a single penny of his side of it. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Let's put this into perspective.
With Joe Lewis, he's definitely time. Let's just say time's not in the man's favour, and I can see him more than willing. Well, he's definitely not. Look at his age. He's surely, I doubt he's got a decade left on it. If you want to go by rounding things off as such, being realistic here, yeah. I could honestly see Joe Lewis being willing to sell 40% of the 70%.
Like what
he owns. But the fight of it is going to be, hang on a second, but the fight is going to be, even though Levy is not the out-and-out owner of the club, he is the chairman. He just holds the second biggest shares in the place, and he's basically the, what do you want to call it, the power of attorney for Joe Lewis. I can see Levy fighting this one all the way, because if that
he can't fight it.
He can make it awkward, but he can make it awkward.
Okay, let me explain to you like that, right?
And let me finish then. Let me finish.
Okay.
He
let me
can
finish
make
first.
it awkward because we all know that he's like that with Joe Lewis. Yeah. And with Joe Lewis, where he's already a multi-billionaire anyway, it's really going to mean neither here nor there to him whether he gets rid of it. I think Levy would have the power to be able to talk Joe Lewis into saying, no, not 40%, let him have 25%, or let him have even 28%, because Levy still wants to hold that significant amount in there. Because even though he's the second owner of the club as such, he is basically the owner. He is basically the one that says how it goes. He is the power of attorney. He is the man it comes through. Joe Lewis probably gives him an order here or there to do, and he does it. And apart from that, Levy does the rest his way. If MSP go and get 40%, then that means they become the most powerful shareholders out of that. I don't think Joe Lewis would be bothered about it. I just don't see Levy letting that happen. And I see him fighting tooth and nail into talking Joe Lewis to only letting them have 25%. But it could also be a positive thing on the club because they would then still have a say in big things that happen, wouldn't they? I mean, what do you think about all this?
Okay, guys, let me explain this first, right? Tottenham Hotspur, IMHO holding of Tottenham Hotspur, the football club LLC, is 86%. And there's a 13% that belongs to 30,000 shareholders of the club.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In that IMHO 86%, right?
But Enoch is Joe Lewis and Levy, isn't it?
Yeah. Then the breakdown is, right, it's something between 79 point something percent belongs to Joe Lewis, and the other 20, sorry, not even 79. I think it's 69 or over percent belongs to Joe Lewis. It's a 70-30 kind of thing between them in ENIC.
Yeah, exactly. It's what I checked up just before the show. It's 70.6 for Joe Lewis and it's 29.4 for Daniel Levy because ENIC basically comes under Levy and everything else. It's just how they throw it about.
76?
70.6%, it said on there.
70.6. Yeah. So it's about 70,
29.
70, yeah.
Basically.
70, yeah, 70-30 kind of thing, right? So if Joe Lewis is willing to sell his 40% of ENIC to MSP, all right, how much will that be? That will be in the range around 1.5 billion pounds, if I'm not mistaken. If I look at it in that sense, it could be around 1.5 billion pounds here and take here and there, right? And if Daniel Levy strongly opposes this, right, Joe Lewis will just turn around and tell Daniel Levy, either you sell some of your shares to cash out, or you pay me the money and MSG don't come in. That's not MSG, MSP.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, right? But I do.
Okay,
I agree.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. My fear now is this: MSP overall holdings is worth over £2 billion only. All right. So for them to buy Joe Lewis's share or anybody's share in this program that we have here now, right? MSP will have to take a loan to purchase this, guys. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs, in their shareholdings, right, for the past 24 years, right, haven't been giving dividends to their shareholders. Will MSP borrow money with interest, pump in the money to buy shares from Joe Lewis and not get back a return of investment in this deal? I say no. Number one. Number two is, if MSP buys Joe Lewis's share, they are not pumping money into the club. They are just taking over shares of Joe Lewis. We won't see a single extra cent pump into the club by MSP. Unless there's another side deal that says that MSP will pump in another 500 million pounds, right, for whatever project Levy wants to do and to buy players, then that will dilute the shares of Levy even more. So I can tell you this deal of 40%, right, is BS.
Yeah, I can't see earlier.
Yeah, if you say they are coming in with something like a 10% or a 20% stake, right? As an investment.
That's more legit.
That is more realistic because maybe less money involved, less interest to be paid. Then maybe they can say, I will put this as a long run because it's a good option, bro. If MFP buys out how many percent of Joe Lewis's holding, and if they cannot maintain it, they will have to sell it again. So
Well,
there might be
the
a
thing
salvo
is,
buyer coming in the next time.
you say with the money, yeah, they can make their own money, MSP. Because from what I checked up on them, they've actually got quite a hand in the McLaren Formula One, and
I
also
know,
about
but
5 other teams. They could
bro,
make that money if they wanted to without having to actually loan it.
They need to take a loan. Rich people will never use their own money to buy anything. You must always learn that is the lessons of the rich because they will get that billion.
They would. I said they are capable of doing it.
Oh no, to tell the truth, right? All the clubs and the owners of the sports that they are holding now, right, are not money makers. Bro, Formula One, right, loses money every year.
But
the teams don't make money.
It still makes money. Okay,
not the kind of it doesn't make those kind of big money because I follow Formula One. No, I know,
but it still makes money. It's not that they lose money.
Yeah, they don't lose money, but they don't make that kind of big money where they can have a chunk of cash to buy out Joe Louis. No way. And to tell the truth, rich people don't throw out chunks of cash, right, to buy things. If it's a big chunk of cash, they will usually go to a financier and put it into a trade. You know, it's like how we did our stadium, long-term loan, mortgage kind of style, right? So, and I can tell you, it ain't going to happen at 40%. And like what you said, do you think Daniel Levy will give up power that he has now, right? If MSP comes in at 40% holdings, outpowers him and says that, excuse me, Mr. Daniel Levy, this is your record, right? This is the money that you have squandered away in purchases, in sacking managers, in this. You have to be accountable for it. You have to step down, and we will appoint a football person to take over the club. That is what I see. But do you think Daniel Levy will let that happen?
I
don't think so.
That is what I was saying at the start, basically. Like, I can't see him a 40% bid going through because I don't think Levy would want anyone with more power than him. But it's like we say, Joe Louis is the top dog, really. And like what Rudy said here, is about ENIC, not Spurs and that. But that is what they sort of use as an extra with it. I don't quite know how to describe it, but it is basically Joe Louis and Levy that owns the place. And they do it through other bits.
He's buying. If he buys into ENIC, he's how you call like if you buy into ENIC and you're not buying into Spurs itself, you get it. So if you buy into Spurs itself, that means you're gonna dilute the Spurs shares and ENIC's shares. You see. But then that you have to pump in money into the club, right, in a different way. But if you go out and buy out directly from Joe Louis, how many percent of his shares he wants, right? That could, but to tell the truth, this might not be a one-time deal. MSP could go in and buy in 15% from Joe Louis this year, right?
And then maybe buying more in following years.
Buying more. And what Kroenke did with Ask Vindaloo, that's what Kroenke did with the Arsenal. Because in the end, Kroenke had to buy out Usimov. Yeah, Usimov, the Russian oligarch. So that's how, in the end, he got whole control of the whole club. And to tell the truth, that could be what MSP do it. And to tell the truth, right, if Levy opens that door ajar slightly and someone puts their foot into it, I can give you maybe within 5 years' time, we will not see Levy as our chairman anymore. Most probably, he will be just another shareholder at ENIC.
Well, it's all just hope in that aspect, I suppose.
Yeah.
And Vindaloo's making you correct there. And it's like what Rudy 2 says here. It's more just smoke and mirrors from Levy. He's talking to other investors as MSP is still interested in Everton. Well, from what I have read through the news, I can only go through what I read in that. They actually blew Everton out. That is why they are now looking at Spurs. But again, it's true what Rudy says. It's all just smoke and mirrors when it comes to all this from Spurs. And this is where actions speak
Guys,
louder
I'm
than
gonna
words.
tell you all this, right? All these smoke and mirrors. In the end of the day, you'll be spun around and telling truth, and then the club will say that, oh guys, we couldn't get the investors in. That's why we don't have any money to buy players. We have to sell and buy. That's what I see. Right. Big up, Stel. Hope you're doing well.
Yep. Opal's good
Oh,
for you,
Stel.
mate. I mean, if you want to jump on quickly still, I've still got another 20 minutes. Say so, I'll send you a link. And it is one thing I struggle to see happening. But it is one thing we would all love to see happen. Someone else to actually get their foot in there that could.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Put the door, put your foot at the door and let the door be ajar open a bit and slowly open it wider and wider until, we can kick that someone out. And hopefully somebody new will come in and actually do the football part. It's all hope, guys.
Well,
we are Spurs
it
fans.
is all hope. But I don't even think that one coming towards the end of the show is a negative one to necessarily talk about. Yes, it all goes back into the fact of Levy and everything and that, but it's not necessarily negative when you hear there's a chance of that happening. But then we've heard of chances of this happening time and time again. And for someone to get their hands on a bit of Tottenham, it is going to cost them a hell of a lot of money because we are the biggest money-making club, like out of football, the money we make, basically in the Premier League. The money you can make out of Spurs is why people would want to invest in Spurs as such, not so much for the football side, is it?
Yeah.
And that's what puts the prices up on everything. Will it all go through? Only time will tell in that aspect. But with everything else, some of these transfers and that, I can definitely see them happening. Like with the Ezzy one, I can definitely see that one going through. I can see that one happening. I mean, what I'm going to do here quickly, still seeing as you're on here, I'm going to send you a link to see if you want to come on and say anything about this. There we go. I'll send you a link, mate. Do jump on if you want, because I've got about another 15, 20 minutes. But I do actually see some of these ones happening. And the two that I want to see happen out of everything we've said is the Ezzy and Ivan Toney one. Because that is the one.
Then if I give you a choice, right, would you take, if you had one either or, would you take Toney or Ezzy?
I think Toney would be the one we need more.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. Because if you have too many left hand, we already got Werner there. So, like you said, that if you should have gone for Ezzy instead of Werner, then you get one spot for Toney, then it balances out. But now you got Werner there. I don't see Ezzy coming in at 60 or 70.
But Ezzy plays as attacking midfield central as well. He plays there mainly, and he also covers the left hand side as well, doesn't he? So we'd be getting a very good sort of deal out of it, basically. And
Miss Bunny's correct, right? We want Toney, and we end up with Kevin Lewin. Kevin Lewin might not be that bad.
I mean, who's the other one we're meant to be interested in as well? I mean, now I'm just going up once out of memory. Solanke is the other one we're meant to be interested in as well.
Yeah. But Solanke, these 2 seasons have got quite good goal returns, Right, he's up there above the 15 goal scoring mark. And on the right hand side, right, I wouldn't mind actually a player like Jared Bowen. Big up, John. I hope you're well. Right. I wouldn't mind a Jared Bowen coming in on our right hand side, right? That will solve our Brennan Johnson and Decky problems.
I mean, it's like Bowen says.
Goals
it says here, Eze is a midfielder as much as a winger. So how does that impact Maddison? Do you know what? The way it would be good because he can cover both positions, one as good as the other, basically. And we need someone who can cross the ball. I know that's not necessarily his strongest point, but it's better than anyone we have got, bar Porro. And we all know Porro doesn't get played that way. And the way Maddison was last season, for me, he was probably our biggest flop after the
Yeah,
first 10 games. I mean, for me personally, I mean, that's just out of, I know
we
there was
we
players worse than him, but the way he ended up after the 10 games and got us all hyped up and excited because he was playing shit out along with Basuma, and then he just fell to shit after that injury. And that is one thing Leicester had warned us about.
yeah.
And
We should get
as a
another. Yeah, I did tell you we should get another player like Madison, a Madison like kind of player, right? If he gets injured and he falls off, then we bring in that player to replace him. So, but
yeah,
Spurs will never
or
do that.
we want the player there like Eze with the capability of taking Madison's place from him if it's not working.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
what we want.
Yeah.
That's what we want our buyers to be. Either get into that team straight away, or to have the quality to basically take that place when needed. And the closest we've really got to Madison at the moment is Kulusevski. I mean, we don't even play him in the right position for me.
Yeah.
And we all know Kulusevski hasn't got the skill of Madison or the passing abilities, but that's about the closest we've got, or maybe Lo Celso for if we need that playmaker there. I mean, what George says here, when Eze plays out wide, he likes to come inside and link up play with Elise. I'm not sure it even makes sense if we're still inverting both fullbacks. I can see where you're coming from. I can see where you're coming from. I don't agree in this inverted fullback crap either. It's one that I personally don't like, but it's one that's not going to change anytime soon. Even though when he did adapt it to where he just basically had one of them inverting at the time, Porro, and then having Van der Ven come back in to make it a back three, I think it looked a lot better. I mean, I even think we actually looked stronger as a defence with Van der Ven on the left, Porro on the right, obviously, and Dragusin and Romero there. I think we actually looked stronger at the back and the way we played there than we did with a Doji on the pitch. I mean, what do you think?
I think if we do have that, all we do actually secure our back line, right, with proper squad players that actually can rotate around, right? That will be a very good option because it gives us a different dynamic. But the thing is that whether we'll Ange tweak it a bit, lie back a bit when we need to go fall back about 5 yards or 10 yards back and play out, then we'll have to see what happens. But I think if you keep sticking with the inverted fullback, in the end our fullbacks will end up like strikers. And that's the weird thing. I was looking at VDV in the last 2 games that he was played in that position, right? He reminded me of an old Gareth Bale kind of player, right? Where he can actually take the ball and run with speed, and then he score goals too. He's got an eye for the goal. So don't be surprised, man. Guys, VDV could turn up to be our next Bale if he gets converted into a actual right winger.
I don't think VDV's got the physicality for that sort of thing. And what I mean by that is, I mean, especially the way we play him, and he's relies on his pace, and we rely on him sprinting back so many times to cover us. I think we're going to rip the shit out of his hamstring.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, that is guaranteed. That's a guarantee, right? So,
and even if he does that and he loses his pace, I still think Van der Ven is good enough to be a good central defender. It's just that would be his star bit gone that we so much rely on that team for getting back and covering us when we're so pressed forward.
Yeah, but then don't forget, right? We still got another young player called Ashley Phillips coming in. You get what I'm saying? Maybe Ashley Phillips could step in too, right, to cover up the defense. Yeah.
That was another thing I wanted to actually mention. Some people, I mean, say we need another defender. I don't think we do. And from what I've heard, I can't say I've seen him, that Phillips could definitely cover that place. Definitely cover that place very well. But then would he want to be there as a number 4 choice, basically? Would it be better that we loaned him out?
I mean, with so many games that we're going to play right next season, if we do go further down into the cups,
people are we're gonna have to spin the team around, basically, aren't we?
Rotate the players, rotate them around, right? We can't be playing. Imagine if we are going to play, right, VDV, right, in that sort of way, every game, right? I can promise you, before the December comes around, he will have pulled his hamstrings. Sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
question here from Jay. I mean, he says, Dan, what are your thoughts on Ederson from Atalanta? Would he fill the number 6 role? I mean, we hear about this number 6 and DM quite a lot. I mean, I've spoke about it as well. But if we really look at the way Ange plays, and someone do correct me on this, if I don't actually think we play with a DM. We basically play with 2 box-to-box midfielders. It's just we use one of them as a bit more of a DM and one of them of a bit more going forward, but they're both sort of box-to-box.
They can
with
rotate.
Ederson, Atalanta are in the Champions League now.
Why would he go and come?
Exactly. That's not going to happen. But would it be worth the gamble on the money? Atalanta are not a rich club. One thing they are is a very tight club in the aspect of their team. If I was going to relate
how much are we looking for him? I mean, looking at, well, you know, is it a 40 million euro kind of thing?
Yeah, round about a 40, 45. But I just don't see that happening now that they're in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I presume so. I mean, Atalanta, they're similar to Leverkusen. I mean, if you actually look at Leverkusen, player for player, they've got some very good players, but player for player, you wouldn't say it's a world-class team. It's just they are so tight and so well put together. Everyone playing in their position, everyone knows how to play, everyone playing in their best position. They've made a good team extremely good. And that is what you can do. And when you're playing players out of position, out of sync, you can have the best set of players out there and you won't get the most of them. I think Ederson would definitely be worth a go at Spurs, but it's not going to happen. They're in the Champions League. Why would he want to exchange that?
But like you're saying, we all been saying this, right? If the team clicks and do what has to be done properly, then you have a team. And if the team is unbeatable, then you will have a team that continues to be, you know, doing the things that they do. Right? But, you know, Spurs, we are so used to buying players and playing them out of their position, trying to fit them, you know, square pegs into round holes. That's what we do all the time. Let's hope that changes nowadays, you know. You can have a player who's talented, right? And you can change him around within his perimeters, like he's a defender. You can play him across the wing, across left to right, or even in the center, left or right, and it works. But the thing is that this system we play now with the inverted fullbacks, right? It makes our fullbacks more like wingers. Yes, you know. And then we need midfielders to come in to fill in the gaps of the defenders who have gone up.
It don't make them more like wingers. It makes them more like get them to go in a number 10 role. And I think that's one of the problems there. When you've got another 2 players, a number 10, a playmaker usually wants that bit of space there. That's why sometimes they even stick a playmaker on the left or the right where there's going to be a bit of space, when they've got an open view to spot that direct ball, to spot that pass. And with the way we play, I think we're a bit blocked up there to use a number 10 properly. And again, this is where Ange might need to adapt or see something different. But in that aspect, I don't see that happening. I would like us to use some of the youth team as well. But from what certain people have said and that, it doesn't look like that will happen as well. So I don't think Phillips will get into that team either. But if we're going to sell 10 players, do I see that one happening? No, but I can see us getting rid of 5. Surely we're going to have to use some of the youth team for certain games here or there.
The truth, right? That should come into it too, right? Bringing through the youth and all that. You know, we do have some potential in our youth to see whether we can bring them in and whether it works or not. But like I said, all we can do now is we have to just sit and watch what happens. What is the progress of our transfer window, and what kind of quality players we bring in, or are we going to go and get those hidden gems again for the 5-10 million pounds and hope they turn up to be the superstars that we need or the quality players that we need, you know? Guys, don't forget,
well,
we got Bergval coming back, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe Bergval will be Bergvall will be the Madison, rotation player.
It's possible.
We
I mean, we
don't know.
did pay
Yeah,
for him and that. Who knows on that one? Again, it's just wait and see. It's like
yeah.
what Vindaloo asks here. Now you've seen Ange for a season. Can his style of play work with any signings? Your thoughts? With that one, I think a lot of people know my opinion with Ange's way of play. I think the Premiership is too good to play Ange's style every game. This is where he has to adapt for certain games, like he managed to do in the last two bloody games. And the only way I see Ange's style working out and out, game in, game out, is when you've got a team like Man City. And we are
But we will
never
never reach.
going to
We will
get
never reach that.
a quality
Yeah.
team of that standard. This is where he's going to have to adapt to things. But is he going to? I don't think he is. But I do think we might see some more changes in certain games because he has proved now that he can do it.
To tell the truth, right?
So,
And can adapt. He should be able to learn to adapt. And I hope next season he does adapt, right? And the thing is that the second part with Vindaloo asking with any signings that we bring in, and that is the big question. What kind of signings that he's going to bring in? And are those signings that suits his type of play? Or whether he's got a, now we call it the plan B, right? Or maybe an alternate way of playing and all that with other sorts of players to actually mix it up, right? So it's hard to say. He's already 60, 50 plus, going to be 60, so he could be stubborn. He will still want to stick to the way he wants to play. And if he does that, and if in the first part of the season it doesn't work out well, then we all know what's going to happen there. Right.
oh, hang on a second. No, someone pressed the wrong button there. Yeah, Stell said he's going to jump on in 5 minutes. So, out of the players I've read and everything and that, what other players do you see out there that we've got that we could go for as such? Because this is another tricky one. I don't just want us to go for the Luton left back. I can't remember his name properly, but
Doherty,
what other
Doherty, I think. Yeah.
that, I think that's the one. Yeah.
Doughty, Doherty. Yeah.
What other players out there are worth going for to cover the positions that we need covered? And for me, that's a winger, a striker, and a midfielder, basically. One who plays more of a DM sort of style, box to box.
We've already covered one winger. We got in Werner, right? So we only got two spots left, a striker and a midfielder. So to come to the sense that even maybe Bergvall will come in to be third choice or fourth choice, right? That doesn't solve our medicine problem. We need somebody who's creative, right? I would have loved Kamada to come in a few seasons ago, right, from Frankfurt, but let's see whether that happens or not, right? And to tell the truth, nowadays I hardly ever want to predict what kind of players we're going to get because we are always linked to monitoring, negotiating, interested in, but we don't know, right? But like I was saying, right, we've been saying, why is Ange doing punditry for the Euros? Maybe Ange is going in to look at the European players coming through the ranks. Well, then maybe he'll spot one or two talents that he says, maybe I want this guy. He can play my style.
I suppose it'd be the perfect place to do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, go and get him. You get what I'm saying, right? For all you know, we will find some small European team that's in the Euros, and there's some talent there, that is hidden. Then maybe we can go for one of those, right? But and to tell the truth, what we like to do is we like to rate all the clubs who are in trouble, right? To get a good deal out of it, right? Teams like Chelsea, who is needs to sell before they can buy, who are in trouble with PSR. Newcastle in trouble with PSR, and of course the relegated teams. Now we're talking about Luton. But what about the players in Sheffield?
I mean, the main two we'd want from Newcastle, we're not going to get them anyway. I mean, what Rooty 2 says here is very true. I mean, Bergvall is not the answer.
Yeah. He's still
he
young.
has to develop a lot to be viable for the Premier League. I mean, in my opinion, if you're good enough, you're good enough. But I don't see us using him as the backup as such, or the place to fight Harry Kane to fight James Maddison for his place. And Philly 2109, I've gotten to the point where I would rather see Dorrington than Ben Davis. At least Dorrington would learn from his mistakes. Mate, I think we are all basically at that position now. And Papa's saying no decent players will come to Spurs, trust me. James, we don't need cover. We need first team players. Exactly.
Yeah,
This is what I'm
what did
talking
Papa
about.
say? Papa says no decent players were willing to come to Spurs. Papa, we'll get indecent players then.
Well, again, we shall see with that one. It's going to be a strange one, but hopefully we can get those important players in that we need. 3 very good players, and if we then go and get another 2 squad players, I can deal with that. And Rooty 2, what are you saying here? Too much talk of Marcus Edwards out there for my liking. No, I agree with what you're saying.
It's about talk.
We've already had him, and I don't think it's a good idea to go back on yourself.
Rudy is putting all those obscure, talented names out there, like Buon Giorno, I think that's Italian. Then there's another guy called Sudakov, maybe it's Ukrainian, right? So, yeah, right. Let's see how that goes, right?
I mean, so where do you think we're capable of going next season then? Seriously. If, say, for instance, we do get Eze and Ivan Toney and then get ourselves a decent midfielder, what do you think we're actually capable of doing next season, realistically? Because we've obviously got to get rid of players as well.
Realistically, right, if we do get the quality players that Ange really wants, right, and Ange doesn't become stubborn and actually big up Toxic Headshot, right, long time no see, hope you're well. And Ange doesn't be stubborn and he adapts and he, changes his style and tactics depending on what this one, J. Ashraf. Chelsea signing what was his name? Toshin Dio or whatever. I think because he's on a free. So they don't have to come up with extra money first since he's on a free. So yeah, wages will come in. We can go far if Ange adapts. But if Ange doesn't adapt and plays the way he still wants to play the gung-ho football, guys, we ain't winning shit. We know that. Oh, yeah. And that's the other one, the Adebayo, yeah. Adebayo's in Luton, if I'm not mistaken, too, right? But he's injured at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Then why do we want to go? Why do we want to go looking around the clubs that have been relegated, for God's sake? I mean, Maddison was a good idea. I know that, but why would we seriously want to do that if we're looking at doing something? That definitely is not going to impress the fans either, is it? I mean, Maddison was a deal for what he was, and then he just ended up doing what he did, and that was basically fall to pieces. And beyond 72, a large part of the fan base think Davis is a great option to have and gets the job done. Now, if I'm going to be honest with that one, yeah, Davis is more one of the ones that isn't a priority to get rid of for me. He's in that list of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, however many players need to go. But for me, he's more in group 3, if you want to put it in groups as such. I don't think he is one. I think we need to get rid of Chicken Royale before we get rid of Davis, because Davis can cover defensive centre back. I'd say he's more of a centre back now. I wouldn't even class him as a wing back, but I wouldn't say he's a bad squad player to have on there at the moment. By the time it comes to the following season, we need better squad players, better players there. But I wouldn't say Davis is one of the first ones I would get rid of.
Yeah. I'll tell Beyond 72. Beyond 72, he's been here more than going to be 10 years. He'll get his testimonial. We've been saying it for 3 years. We made a joke out of it. When I first joined the YouTube, we've been saying, yeah, Ben Davis and his testimonial. He'll get his testimonial, right? He's been here
Well,
10
he's not
years.
far from it, is he?
No, he's already 10 years, so he'll get his testimonial. Get rid of. We can't keep keeping people here for the past 10 years. We need to change.
No, but Davis, if you
Yeah,
compare him
disabled
for
people.
me, big up to you, mate. If you compare Davis to ones like Tanganga, Royal, Hoiberg, Roden, Regulon, Gill,
Yeah, I know.
Spence, and Dombele,
Yeah.
I don't think he's quite on the same list as them. And if we was to keep him for another
Yeah.
season, I wouldn't be that bothered about it. And he goes for free at the end. Fine by me. I just don't think he's in that high list.
Then the other question is that, right? Will our great chairman let him go for free?
That I agree with.
Yeah. We have to get
when you're not going to get that much for him anyway, and there is priority to get rid of. Again, how much Levy's going to do this on the football side and everything else, we'll see. But I don't think Davis is a priority to get rid of as such. Not like some of the others. I mean, some of them.
But maybe we can use him as a swap deal. You know, player come cash. You know, get a player and cash. Get a Hudson Odoi or something like that.
Mm-hmm. No, if we was to do that, but Hudson Odoi, he's a left winger, isn't he? I mean, are you looking at him covering as a left wing back sort of thing? If we got him,
I'm just saying, not to cover the position. I mean, just to have that sale happen. Maybe some lower Premier League team or Ipswich might want him, right? Take him. Right.
Well, if we could get the money for him, I mean, Toxic Headshot, what you say here, we have to go for European success. That is exactly what I was saying at the start and what I said yesterday, mate. I think that Europa Cup has got everything we need on it. We said it at the start. We'll say it one more time. It's got the silverware on it. It's also got the Champions League if you get it at the end as well. And that will keep everybody happy. Mr. Levy will be happy because he will get his money for the Champions League. We'll be happy we're in the Champions League and we have
a trophy. Yeah, that's the most important thing. Trophy. I don't give a shit else.
For me, that Europa Cup, that Europa League, however it's going to be played, because it's meant to be quite different the way it's going to be played next season. Yeah. For me, that's the most important one, really. But then it's having the size of the squad to do it.
Yeah, maybe we'll just have a Manchester United Spurs final in the end of the day.
I mean, Vindaloo, for me, it's not so much as the signings, it's more of Ange adapts to the Prem, as clubs know how he wants to play. That's what we've been saying for ages, mate. Yeah. We've been saying that for a while now. There's others who say that no, he doesn't need to adapt. Again, it's all opinionated. It all comes down to opinions. But for me, it's more of a fact that he needs to adapt to it. And Rob, big up to you, mate.
Hey, big up, Rob Frank.
What's that? Best I believe we can achieve is top 4, and that's it. Levy is unambitious, and fans will be happy with that. I won't be happy with that, and I think there's a lot that will be happy with that. It's just, like I've said before, it's just the way it is at Spurs. Top 4, I do think is capable, because like I say, I don't think Aston Villa were that special this year. I mean, they was only, 2 points in front of us at the end? But the others are going to improve.
Yeah. Aston Villa has got PSR problems too, right? They need to sell to buy too, if I'm not mistaken. Yo.
Yes, they do. Afternoon, Stel. How we doing?
Yeah, good, bro. How you doing? How you doing?
How you doing?
Just been sitting here basically going through the choice of players. It looks like we're going through and that, like Eze, Conor Gallagher, and for me, it's looking like Eze is one that has got a high chance of happening, because I don't see none of the big clubs going for him, and I see a good chance that we get him, because I don't think none of the bigger clubs need him like we could as such, like Ivan Toney, for instance. I can see us getting hold of both of them.
Anything's possible. They're both improvements on what we've got, so I'm not against either. Ivan Toney dropped off the second half of the season when he came back, so that's I'm unsure. Eze is definitely an improvement on what we got. So if we sign him, brilliant. Do I think we're going to get them? No, I don't. I don't think we're going to sign a player like Tony because of his age. I just got this
I
feeling
mean,
we're
how
not
old's
going
he
to get
now?
Eze.
28?
Yeah,
28, 29,
20.
yeah. I don't think we're going to. I don't think we're going to get Eze. I don't
Well,
think we're going to sign him.
do you know what? I think there's a high chance, and thanks, Tommy, that we do get him
Yeah.
because I don't think Liverpool need him. Arsenal don't need him. Man U don't necessarily need him. All the other big clubs, same as Ivan Toney, don't necessarily need him. The only one out of all of them that would actually need Ivan Toney would quite possibly be Arsenal because they need the striker. But they've made it quite clear that they're not interested in him.
Yeah,
I
they
think
want
Arsenal
quality.
going for. I think Arsenal going for Sesko.
Yeah.
Yeah,
21-year-old.
that's the one. Yeah, that's the one where it's saying over the news that we're going for and that. I mean, other thing is, it's like what I spoke to Eugene about. I mean, I'm pretty sure I know your opinion on this one anyway, but you can give it to everybody else. MSP looking at buying 40% of the place out, and it's meant to actually be quite a legit offer as such. It's meant to actually be in there with a chance of happening. I don't see that going through because I don't see Levy wanting to give up anything that he's got. I could see Joe Lewis wanting to get rid of something, but I also don't see Levy wanting to become the third-hand man as such. I mean, this one's all hope more than anything.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Dan, because unless they've got a controlling interest, it means nothing. Oh, by the way, big up Blake in the chat and everyone else. Disabled team, Daryl, Tommy, Vindaloo, everyone in the chat, Jammy Git. Because you see at Arsenal, Stan Kroenke had a percentage ownership, but nothing changed. It wasn't until 5 years ago he took controlling interest. Yeah, and then what happened? They won the FA Cup. They've backed a manager. They've rebuilt. They're spending £100 million on one player. They're challenging for titles. They're progressing to quarterfinals of Champions League. So the change didn't happen until Kroenke got complete control. So if they take 40%, great. It's a start. But until Levy and Enoch can't control the club, then I'm not really bothered, Dan. Eugene?
Yeah, I really told Dan about it too. I had a big rant about it.
If they got,
All right.
if they got, if they got the 40% in it, wouldn't they have more of a call than Levy, who's got 29.4? I mean, if they get 40%, they've actually got the biggest call of the place because it's Joe Lewis on about 70% and Levy on 29.4 or whatever it is.
It depends.
Wouldn't that mean that they would have the main shout in it?
It depends who sells their shares.
I think it will be
Levy ain't
Enoch.
going to drop a penny.
Yeah, I think he's taking over part of Joe Lewis's holdings of Enoch because I think MSP is buying into Enoch because they're all in America and they can do all their deals over that side, right? Right, but like I said, if that door opens a bit, right, and someone puts the foot and jams it there, so that means there is a chance to actually pry it wide open and get Levy out. You understand what I'm saying? Because if MSP comes in at 40% of Joe Lewis's holdings, right, that means they will be the biggest shareholder and they will have a say, unless there is a clause in there in that purchase that says that they will still have to keep Levy there for another 5 years to help the transition and the blah blah blah. Then we'll see. Yeah.
I mean, because that was meant to have been what part of the problem was when Abramovich wanted to take over Spurs.
Yeah, but
from what I read in that over history, Lewis was meant to be up for it, but part of the deal was that Levy stayed as chairman and Abramovich was having none of it. But how true any of that is or whatever,
listen,
it all goes by what you read, doesn't
it? If you have controlling interest, it doesn't matter what you agree, right? If I take control of Spurs, but I agree to take control, but keep Levy there for the next 3 years, that means nothing because I can manage Levy out if I want. So, for example, because we've made a loss, we can't pay you what you're currently being paid. So we're going to have to change the pay structure. We can't give you bonuses. You can begin to manage him out. You can make life difficult on people. If there's a legal way that you can't do that, take away his company car. Take away, make his office. Oh, we're going to move your office. We're going to put you in the shed at the bottom of the corridor. You just make the job just crap to the point of where, do you know what? I don't want to be here. And they naturally force themselves out. You manage them out, right? So I just think if anyone takes controlling interest, they might want to keep Levy there for 1 year just to steady the ship. Because you've seen what happens at Chelsea when Todd Bowley took over, got rid of everyone. So hold on a minute. Too much change too quick can be a disaster. So keeping Levy around for a year just for a transition, I could understand. I'd hate it, but I could understand.
But you could understand why as such.
No, but at least he's getting out, right? We know he's not going to be there.
Well, it's a start, isn't it? But on a business perspective, I would be able to understand why they would keep him there for another year, because what they did at Chelsea, like you say, they just literally took out everything and threw it away and started fresh.
Oh yeah, and
everyone didn't know everyone, and everyone didn't know how everyone works. And look how that one hasn't worked out.
And what the new owners can actually do is change the board. You could get rid of Colacott, Cullen, all the yes men that Levy's surrounded with. Then they will put in their people, and all those people will be having the daggers out for him, and he'll feel very uncomfortable because there's no more yes men. Right.
The thing is, look, the way I would do it is I'd keep Levy for a year, I'd keep Paratici, I'd keep Lange, I'd keep all these people in place for 1 year. But the people that I think I want to have, I'd bring them in to work alongside them, learn the basics, advise me what they do that doesn't work for my vision of the club. So the stuff that works, learn that, we keep that. The things that aren't working, tell me what they are, and let's find out how we're going to do that differently. And that's the way to do it. That's what a transition should look like. We don't want to do is blow it all up and say, right, everyone out, completely do it my way, unless the person that comes in
basically blow the bridge up and rebuild it.
Well, I was going to say, this is someone like Stan Kroenke, who's got years and years and years of running sports franchises and sports businesses that have all been successful and won trophies. The Colorado Avalanche, the Denver Nuggets, there's a lacrosse team he owns, the LA Rams. They've all won the major honors. So he's got the know-how. Then, come in, blow it up, because we know what you bring. But if you're just going to bring in a businessman with money from the Middle East that doesn't have that know-how, then bring your people in and let them learn off the existing
system as such.
MSP is not from the Middle East anyway. MSP is an American sports venture company again.
I mean, it's like the questionnaire of Disabled Team TV. Does Tottenham need to bring in investors, though? It has to be a good thing, surely. Now, my opinion on that is we don't need investors at all. This club is one of the few clubs in football, really, that can cover itself, basically, without having to sell players and whatever else. We can fully support ourselves, whereas the majority of other clubs, they can't get what we get through our stadium and that. They have to make their money in other ways, either by winning things or selling things as well. I mean, look, even Chelsea are up a bit of a shit street at the moment. But I can't see investors necessarily being a bad thing. But again, do I see it happening? I mean, would that give us more money to spend? I suppose it all depends on the investors, how much they put into it, doesn't it?
It depends what they're investing in.
No, that's like what I was telling Dan earlier. That was telling Dan earlier. MSP is coming in to buy shares of the company. They are not pumping money into the club to dilute shares. So if you're buying Joe Lewis's bulk of shares of 20%, 10%, and all that, no money is coming back into the club. And to answer what disabled team is Daryl, he was saying, asking the question is, the investors coming in now, right? What I've seen, I'm going to be the financial kind of thing now, talking about some finance and all that. What I've seen through the past 4 years, accounts that they put out there, we've been running at a loss. Why has Levy come out to say that he wants to get investors? Is because don't forget, guys, last season during Conte's reign, right? What they did is they pumped in an extra £100 million into the club, which diluted the shares. That's why
it was 150, and we never saw 50, wasn't it?
Yeah. They just took 100 million. That's what I'm saying. It's 100 million. So they wanted to put 150 and then turn into 100 million pumped into the club, right? That money, maybe part of it went to pay some shit that we need to pay on the properties, development, and all that things, and then maybe part of it went to buy players or pay wages and all that. But now, if these people are coming in, they are not pumping money into the club. They are buying over percentage of the club. So unless they come up with a different plan, one part is to buy a percentage and then an extra money to pump into the club, right? And why Levy this season has come out and said that he needs investors is because the club doesn't have the money to buy the players, do the property investment projects and all that, right? That's why we're looking for investors, right? That is the part that scares me now. Yeah.
Eugene, that's what I was like alluring to. It depends what the investors are investing in.
Yeah.
If they're investing in building a winning football team, that's one thing. But we know any investors that come in, they're going to be investing in the mass property gentrification of Tottenham and the surrounding areas, hotels, apartments, leisure centres, rental properties, business offices, business space, gymnasiums, and all that. That's effectively what they'll probably be looking at, because there's a big opportunity here. Land in London is expensive. Property development in London is expensive, but it also
London is where the money is.
It depends if you look. It depends if you're looking for capital appreciation with the increase in value.
Land appreciation,
or cash flow. Cash flow. There's better places. There's better yield outside of London. But London, one thing with London is it's a guarantee. It's a guarantee that you'll always have business. That's the thing. Like New York, London, Singapore. There's certain cities in the world. It's
the property, because the property is limited. That's all you have. You get what I'm saying? But what I'm saying now is that I'm seeing this in the other day. If MSP comes in, right, it could be just same old. In the other day, because none of the money is going to be, if they come in looking at that, right? And guys, don't forget, right?
Right, Eugene. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Right. As a Spurs fan, and you as well, Dan. As a Spurs fan, right? Forget your Levy in, Levy out.
Gotcha.
Biases or agendas or whatever, right? If you had the choice of a new ownership coming in, and they could either be like the Kroenke ownership or FSG at Liverpool, or they could be that kind of an ownership, or even a Man City style, or they come in and you're going to get trophies, you're going to get silverware, or we don't know, they could come in and turn us into Everton. What happened to Newcastle under Mike Ashley? Right? There's no guarantee. The question is this: would you rather continue with this ownership from what you've seen, or take the risk of a new owner either taking us to where we want as fans if you want trophies, the risk being we could end up being Everton or Newcastle under Mike Ashley? That's what it comes down to. What would you rather do? Risk carrying on with this lot, or risk an unknown coming in and seeing what happens?
Well, go on, Eugene. You go with that one first.
Okay, to tell the truth, right? What I see now, right? Spurs will never become an Everton or a Newcastle because we are too big to fall. We really reached the billions level, right? We are too big to fall. Like I said, I've been going through the accounts.
That's what they said about Chelsea with Todd Bowley, though. Look what's happening.
No, but Todd Bowley is crazy, right, bro?
Our new owner might be crazy, Eugene.
I know, I know.
Yeah, there's some solid points.
I understand the part too, right? But for us to fall, it will take some idiot, right, to run it like an idiot. Then we'll fall. But if you're a proper businessman, right, coming in, right, and doing it properly, like you said, leave Levy there for 1 or 2 years for the transition period, let everything smoothly go across, then we will focus on the football. But the thing is that my biggest fear now is that if these owners come in, right, it could just be status quo. Everything will be still the same. Nothing will change, you see. And the only good thing is that if they hold majority share, maybe we will get real footballing people to come in to run the football. And with the money that we generate from the football, we will improve from there. That's how I see it. For us going back to be a bankrupt club, that I don't see anymore because we're too big to fall.
My question is, Eugene, would you take the risk? The risk is this.
I will take the risk.
That's my question.
I will take the risk. Yeah, I will take the risk because it's better than this bullshit rinse, wash, and repeat, wash, rinse, and repeat over and over again, being lied to. You can say no. I want the new owners to come in and not lie to us. If we are fucked up, tell us we are fucked up. Fans accept we are fucked up. That's why I give Mike Ashley the respect. Even though he was a shit owner, he stood up there and told the fans, this is all I have. Take it or leave it. I'm not going to lie to you about my ambitions, your ambitions, and whatever ambitions that we have. Yes. If the owners were just honest, if Levy was just honest and, we are building the stadium, but don't worry, we won't have trouble with the transfer window, but then he does 3 transfer windows without buying a player. What the fuck is that all about? Sorry, guys.
Well, we've taken that risk. It's a risk I'd be willing to take for 2 reasons. I mean, one, because we obviously all want to see the football side. We want to see Spurs do something on the football side. But I also agree with what Eugene said. I think we are now basically at a stage where we are too big
to fall.
Not too big to fall, but too big to evaporate as such, yeah? Oh, we can take a fall. But where there's so much money in that stadium now and so much income into this club, and then also with the NFL deals and the go-karting and the hotels being bought and just the money in London as a whole, even if we had some crazy fuckers take us over and it just went crazy on the money side, there'd still be someone quite happily. And say, for instance, the price of Spurs comes down from 5 million to 5 billion to 1 billion. There'd be quite happily some businessmen come out there and say, thank you, I'll have my hands on that, and basically get it rolling again. Whether they'd do it the same way as Levy or they'd do it as a football way, it'd be a different story. One thing you definitely learn in life, in football, but life as a whole, is the grass ain't always greener on the other side. This is what a lot of the Levy lovers do argue, and we do know that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. But for me, it's a risk more than worth taking, because I agree with what you said, Eugene, in the fact of even if we crash sort of thing, we're still not going to evaporate. We're too big for that now.
Yeah.
We've got too much backup out of the football to totally fall to pieces. I mean, look at Man U. They're still standing there money-wise. They're still one of the richest clubs on the planet and still have some of the most income. Yet their club, their stadium and everything has gone to shit, and they still win a bloody FA Cup.
Oh, they've got a very good tourist attraction now, right? The waterfalls.
Yeah.
That's what we don't have.
See, for me, right? Sorry, Dad.
That's all right, go on.
I was going to say, like, for me, I'd 100% have new owners because for 25 years, we've done nothing. Like, we've literally won a cup and the worst century. So if the new owners came in and they won nothing, you know what? I'm used to it. There's nothing has changed. So what?
Yeah.
But if they come in and do something, it's like, well, that's why I took the risk. So my risk is quite mitigated. Unless they bankrupt us or get us relegated, which, let's be honest, that is one hell of a job to do that.
Yeah.
For me, it's a case of, do you know what? Give someone else a chance. This ownership's had 3 decades and we've done nothing. So if the new owners come in and they do nothing, well, then at least we gave it a go. At least we tried.
I mean, it's like what Spurs Rule says here. Why do other YouTubers scaremonger us potential owners being worse than Enoch? What if they were better? That is what all 3 of us are basically saying.
Because they ride Levy's dick. They ride his dick, man.
On a realistic side of it, it could be worse. On a realistic side of it, like I said, the grass isn't always greener, but it's more than a risk worth taking because we are at that stage now where I do feel, as a business as a whole, as a football as a whole, we are too big to crumble now. Yes, we could fall to pieces, but something would take us over quite happily, and we're not going to do Glasgow Rangers and totally evaporate and have to start again. There's just too much money involved in this business now for it to even go to those stages. So yeah, of course I take that risk.
Yeah, that's why I tell you. Remember my rant about we got our Tottenham back? I don't want our Tottenham back doesn't win
agree.
shit, you know.
I
I've been
agree.
saying
Exactly.
that for so long. The we got a Tottenham back is a bunch of bullshit because the old Tottenham that we have, right, has not won the league in 63 years to 64 years. We've only won one League Cup in the past 16 years. I don't want that Tottenham. I want a new Tottenham that has vision to win things, right? So I will rather take the risk with the new owners, right? And wait, Kevin says that Kamada has gone to Palace on a free. Shit, why did we do that?
Well, because we were too busy getting Timo over the line.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's just come up on the news is Mbappe is Real Madrid now. Basically, they're giving his date.
Imagine being a Real Madrid fan, guys. Imagine being a Real Madrid fan. You've just won the Champions League, so you sign Mbappe. I mean,
still, we've known that for 2 years that Mbappe is going to Real Madrid.
But knowing it all, and then when it actually happens in front of you, are different things. It's all good knowing it's going to happen. You know the future. You know this is coming and that. But when they actually see him there, sitting in that Real Madrid shirt, it's one thing. Sadly, we will never see in our lifetime anyway. Not that I can see anytime soon.
Dan, do you know how I feel right now about Spurs? Honestly, that Timo Werner signing really has. I feel like I've been punched, jabbed, uppercut, then knocked out, and I'm still on the ground.
It's damaged a lot of us.
Right, I honestly feel like I'm ready to write off next season already. I feel like I'm ready to write off another season already. That's how I feel.
Still, learn what I've learned now, right? Just be zen about all this shit, right? Because we've seen.
I can't be zen. I can't be zen. I've tried.
I've been in. I've gone through it. I've seen it. I've shouted at the screen before. Nah, it's not worth it, right? Just sit back and watch, right? And how much shit that we're gonna take some more, right? Isn't that true? That's why we are loyal Spurs fans, you know, taking shit all the time.
We're talking about bringing back Marcus Edwards. Edwards, that's
one we spoke about earlier, and I don't like the idea of going back for players as such. All right, if you go and bring someone like Gareth Bale back, like we did, which I thought was good, and I don't think he done bad, and I think he should have got used more than he did. Something like that, I could say yes to, but 9 times out of 10, I'm not one to go for bringing a player back. Just like I'm not one to go to bring a manager back.
He's not even all. He's nothing special. Marcus Edwards is nothing. Wow,
you're comparing Bale with Marcus Edwards.
I'm not comparing them. I just said I wouldn't mind bringing a player back like Bale. Yeah, if you hear me properly, I haven't compared them, not at all. They're light years from each other and that. Whereas someone like Marcus Edwards, I don't agree on going back to managers and back to players and everything. Too many hands in the pie.
Didn't we were linked to Kyle Walker's Peters?
That's another one.
Oh dear.
It is. I mean, now I've calmed down a bit. I'm now sitting on the fence. I'm now sitting on the fence, and do you know what? All right, that Werner Von done me good and proper, and wanted Ange out because he's picked him. I've got no other option now. Same as you, Eugene, same as the rest of us. To basically just sit back and wait now, and to see.
That's what they want. That's what they want, though. They want us to accept it. They want us to sit back and say that's okay. That's what they.
It's not okay. And I'm
no, we're gonna sit there. It's not okay.
It's there.
Okay, right?
It's there, and we can't bloody change it, and that's the problem. I'm now. If we get Eze and we get Ivan Toney and someone else half decent, I'm still going to say that was a terrible decision he's made, unless he goes and scores like 20 goals or whatever. But I'll be able to sort of get on with it and maybe have a bit of hope for next season. But as the start of it, like we've said, and we've all gone off our head about it and everything, and that it was probably one of the most abysmal.
I didn't lose my head.
Yeah. Oh, I did. I did lose my head. A lot of this.
I just refused to go on shows during that period of time.
Have you seen that at the Barrio Tosin has gone to Chelsea?
Yeah, yeah. Tosin Adebayo, yeah.
Listen, I'm not upset that he's gone there. I didn't want him, but he's gone on a free, and they outbid Newcastle on wages to attract him. So it's just interesting that some of the players we are being linked to, we're not even close to getting. We're not even bidding. So I think half of what we're linked to, take with a pinch of salt. And some of the things we are linked to might happen. Again, it's one of those. Every window's the same. We get linked to 97 players. One of them actually comes true. The rest all come from left field. Like, what was that? Who's Solomon?
That's what I basically said at the start. Yeah, that is pretty much what I said at the start, and that is just the way it works at Spurs. Like it or lump it, basically, and that is what we have to do. But there is no way you are going to sit here and get me accepting Werner unless he goes and scores 20 goals. But
He's so shit, man.
It is terrible, but let's just not even go with that one again, and let's just hope that there is hope. Is the way I can look on that one. Right, I'm getting a bit of hassle off the missus now because she wants to take over this kitchen, and I also want my Sunday roast. Well, that's where I sit at the moment, and as all I did was change my computer around so it faced that wall instead of faced the sink and everything, and it looked significantly better.
You know, if you called it the office, we wouldn't know any different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know it's a kitchen.
I know, as all I did was turn it around on the table.
Yeah.
But right, Eugene, where can we find you, mate?
Spurs Vision TV, right? I don't know. Let's see whether I'll do some shows or not, or just be lazy and hop on to shows like Dan and all that, and just say what I need to say on YouTube, right? But guys, Spurs Vision TV, don't forget to subscribe and like to the Hotspur Hood, and of course Tottenham Away too, right? Thanks for having me on, Dan. Good to see you, Stel.
Always fun.
Yeah, and as always, like I say, Levy out.
And Stel, you got anything up and coming?
Yeah, tomorrow night, Monday, 8:30 p.m. UK time, Monday pods. Tottenham Away. I don't know where we're going to go with that conversation tomorrow, but I'm sure it's going to end up being another fire, another explosion.
Well, I need to see the reaction of Maz signing team over.
Maz is not happy. I tell you, Maz is not happy.
No, he's not impressed either.
No, he's already said to me he's written off next season. Like, he's actually written it off.
I can understand why, totally. But right, thanks for everyone for coming on, and always good to see you two and do a show we are. And thanks for everyone who's been watching. Give us a quick like and subscribe; it's appreciated. Finally got to the 3K, so I'm happy with that.
Oh yeah, congratulations!
Yeah. Oh, well done, man. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, 3K.
Thank you. Yeah. Everyone, have a good Sunday afternoon, Sunday roast, Sunday whatever you're gonna do. Have a beer, whatever you got to do, but have a good day.